Thank you for staying. Let's get into our first story now. The Ministry of Works and Housing says it is implementing an early warning flooding system, which will serve as a shield against impending floods. Speaking at the launch of the commencement of upgrading interventions in the Alogboshi community, Sector Minister Francis Asensio-Boakye revealed that this initiative was a crucial step in safeguarding lives and property. Jacqueline Asumayebua has more in this report.
A transformative chapter began on Thursday, 14 December, as Minister Asensio-Boakye initiated the Garrett Project's community upgrading works, from primary and secondary drains to access roads, waste management and extended utilities. The endeavor aimed at uplifting the low-income settlement. Minister Asensio-Boakye announced plans for the implementations of an early warning flooding system, which will serve as a shield against impending floods.
So under the Greater Accra Resilience and Integrated Project, otherwise known as the Garrett Project, there are several interventions. Some of them include what we are doing today, community upgrading of infrastructure. Some of them we are constructing very big stop drains in Kaneshi, in Nima, in Achimota, and even here in Alogboshi, and some other parts of Accra, all within the Odo River Basin. As part of that, there's also what we call early flood warning systems. It's a system that will inform the residents that rains are coming. It has the potential of causing serious flooding, so that it will help the residents to prepare, to take the necessary steps to evacuate the period that the flood of the rains and the potential flooding events.
MP for Okaikwe North, Theresa Ladi Awini, also emphasized the communal effort required for flood resilience, acknowledging that every developmental stride demanded sacrifices.
We will also ensure that our community, our members, comply, because most people have been compensated to leave designated areas. I will ensure with my people that they give way for work to commence. Every development comes at a price, at a cost, and so we will plead with, I'll continue to plead with my people to bear in mind that if we want, especially this road to be done, there are a lot of people that will be touched.
These initiatives are expected to curb some of the challenges faced by low-income settlement under the Garrett Project. For Joy News, I am Jacqueline Asumayebua.
Now, farmers in Ghana will be able to tap into income-generating opportunities to improve their livelihoods. This is being spearheaded by the Crops Research Institute of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research under the Revenue Diversification Pathways in Africa through Bio-Based and Circular Agricultural Innovations Project. There's more in this report.
The 4-year EU-sponsored project, launched in 2021, aims to increase the productivity, income and economic opportunities of subsistence and smallholder farmers in arid and semi-arid regions of sub-Saharan Africa. During a meeting at the Cross Research Institute, Fumosa, the farmers were exposed to technologies such as slick irrigation technology, ethno-botanical and intercropping and multifunctional constructed wetlands, among others. Dr. Moses Branford Mocha is director of the Cross Research Institute.
This project, based on diversification of pathways, CRI has developed a lot of projects in the area of generating technologies, and these technologies has to be transferred to the end users, mainly the farmers.
But the principal investigator of the project, Dr. Shadrach Kodjamponsa, is optimistic the project will lead to the establishment of a knowledge exchange platform.
The DiveAgri actually has the propensity to change the agricultural production landscape in Ghana and even the entire West African sub-region, in the sense that, as I said already, farmers have the knowledge, but then they lack the technical know-how to be able to harness the knowledge and then make it productive. And that is what DiveAgri stands to do. So we believe that the success story that we are seeing here, of course, we are working with UCC. UCC is also a partner, in Cape Coast, and they are, also piloting different other sides of the technologies that we are also doing here. Now, together, we plan to set up what we call knowledge exchange platforms where farmers would be able to come and then learn at first hand how they can diversify their revenue.
Reporter for Joy News, Kwesi Debra.
Now, the people of Nakbaili, a farming community in Nanumba South District of the Northern Region, are heaving a sigh of relief following the construction of an ultra-modern maternity ward for the only health facility in the community to support expectant mothers during delivery. Prior to the construction of the maternity ward, expectant mothers in the community traveled to Wulensi and Bimbela to access delivery services. There's more in this report.
The construction of this maternity block is to provide emergency obstetric care for about 30 communities within the Nanumba South District of the Northern Region. The aim of the facility is to improve accessibility to skilled care and thus reduce morbidity and mortality for mothers and neonates. The Abuya Foundation, the organization that constructed that ward, conducted some studies and obtained report of positive impact on the outcome for women and their newborns. Alhaji Aminu Idrisu is the Chief Executive Officer of the Abuya Group.
But what informed the maternity was that when we were commissioning the mosque somewhere last year by this time, the community already, they were not having a maternity. So if a woman is giving birth, they have to send the woman to Bimbela or Wulesi. And then by so doing, some people will deliver on the way, some people will deliver and have complications and all those things. And then, and during the commissioning of the mosque, I've realized that one of our guys' wife were rushed to Bimbela for delivery, which they informed me during the distance. So I pray to God that God should help us to get the maternity.
The midwife at the facility, Jennifer Akuto, explained the impact the maternity ward would make in the beneficiary communities.
When I came here 2021, because the place, our delivery room, we have only 2 beds for the delivery, and our catchment area is large. So when the ladies comes like that, because the beds are only 2, we are not able to accommodate all of them. Sometimes we have to conduct deliveries on the floor because there's not enough beds for us to. And after delivery, we have only 2 beds that is our lie-in, that they can come and lie, and then we'll monitor them for the 6 hours. So because the beds are only 2, we are not able to monitor our postpartum mothers after delivery up to the 6 hours. So sometimes when they deliver and you monitor them 2-3 hours, you have to let them go and give space for the others that are to deliver.
National Chairman of Opposition NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, who was one of the dignitaries who graced the occasion, lauded the CEO of Abuya Group, Alhaji Aminu Idrisu, for using the corporate social responsibility arm of his companies, Abuya Foundation, to touch lives.
We heard about the story of Alhaji Abuya, beginning from the construction of a school for his community. Then he followed to construct a mosque, that is a prayer house. And today, he has completed a maternity ward, which signifies the beginning of life. So all the 3 key projects are projects that have been carefully selected. And I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart.
The chances of women dying because of complications of pregnancy and childbirth are still high in many parts of Ghana and around the world. With the construction of this ward, the story of these communities is about to change for the better. For Joy News, Samuel Kojo Brace, Nanumba South District, Northern Region.
Now, the National Democratic Congress's parliamentary candidate for Brekum East in the Bono region, Simon Ampabeng Treme, has accused city authorities of being irresponsible and playing political gimmicks with the deplorable roads in the constituency. This comes after an appeal by residents of Sofotre and other communities yielded no results. Mr. Chairman has offered to reshape the roads to make them motorable and ease the impact on residents, especially the aged and pregnant women. Precious Semevo has more.
We are suffering on the road, whether dry or rainy season. Mr. Afo sums up the frustrations of residents and users of the deplorable roads at Sofotre, Chireba and Nyametiase in the Brekum East municipality. They said they remain exposed to the dangers of driving the sick on the road and inhaling the dust after years of city authorities' failure to fix the roads despite the many demonstrations. People cannot walk home if they don't work. It's worse for pregnant women who complain of pains at the least on the road. The parliamentary candidate of the NDC in Brekum East, Simon Ampabin Cherme, offered to reshape 25 kilometers of roads at about 75,000 cities. He said the gesture is a response to residents' call for help.
The road has really deteriorated to a level where it is seriously immotorable. We have called on the authorities that be the Pragya group, the citizenry, and all other well-meaning Brekum people have demonstrated time and again on this road. But the leaders and the powers that be have turned deaf ears on them. So the people called on me that if there's anything I could do to help them. I accepted their call. I decided to come in to kind of help, at least to bring relief to the people who ply this road and the very people who reside around this enclave. So we have started with this one from Berlin Junction all the way to the last stop, Sofotre last stop. When we're done with this road, we are moving to Chiriba. When we leave there, we are going to Nyametiase.
Some residents, though grateful, shared mixed reactions.
Normally,
we only see machines on the road during the election period. It needs proper filling, made compact, so that even if they won't tie it, they can use it during the rainy season. Mr. Chairman accused the Brekum East Assembly of playing political gimmicks with the situation, but said he would continue to work in the interest of the people.
I see it as negligence and an act of irresponsibility on the part of the powers that be. And more importantly, playing political gimmick with the people of Brekum. When it was getting to an election, they brought a contractor on the road. Right after the elections, they left. We have demonstrated and demonstrated and demonstrated. We have called on the assembly, we have called on the MP. That kind of playing games with the minds of the people, we have grown past this level. And if anybody thinks that the contractor is coming to side, we're ready. We'll partner with the contractor and help them to facilitate the road.
Precious Semevo, Joy News, Brekum.
In our next story, the youth wing of the opposition National Democratic Congress in the Cape Coast North constituency has underscored the need for government to improve the lot of the people in that constituency. Member of Parliament for Cape Coast North, Dr. Kwamina Menta Nyako, says many roads in the constituency are in a deplorable state and need fixing. Speaking at a cleanup exercise in the constituency, the MP assured that the seat would be retained by the NDC. There's more in this report.
The NDC says the cleanup exercise is a way of energizing their youth and at the same time ensuring that they keep tabs on the health of their constituents. MP for Cape Coast North, Dr. Kwamina Menta Nyako, says the exercise is also a means of identifying what is lacking in the many communities in the constituency and also finding measures to resolving them. Dr. Kwamina Menta Nyako believes his administration's efforts will not be in vain.
It's been phenomenal. We've seen all the youth coming around to come and support. One of the good things is that it's not only NDC people who are here working. We've had other people from other parties also joining us, and I think it's a good thing. We are planning on making sure we do that more often so that we can energize the youth and also make sure that we have our surroundings very clean. I have specific areas or sectors where we need to really work at. Me being a member of parliament, I've put a lot of questions to the education minister, to the rules minister, and so on and so forth regarding things that are happening within the constituency. Unfortunately, the government has been very, should I say, playing a deaf ear to all our requests. But the urban roads manager or director has started working on the major routes for us to have a very motorable area. We hope they can expedite the action for many of the roads to be repaired. People will decide. The people have seen what we have been doing on the ground. They are appreciating what we are doing on the ground, and certainly they will give us the mandate for us to retain the seat.
The Cape Coast North Constituency Youth Organizer, Godfred Onsunyamie, emphasized the significance of the cleanup exercise and assured the NDC that the MPP's candidate elected is a no match for their candidates.
The government is basically taxing everything, from vetting, from your businesses, even your properties, your homes. They are even asking us to pay rent on taxes on it, which is not so fair to the people of Ghana. So what we are advocating now is we are ensuring that there's hope for the future. To be a member in Ghana, member of parliament in Ghana, you should be credible. You should have a track record, and you should be known. You should have a legacy. So now we are presenting our candidate, who is a professional. He is a lecturer. Over the years, since the creation of Cape Coast North, we have had professionals leading us in the member of parliament. We have had Honorable Batundu, who is a lawyer, Barbara, who is a teacher. We have Colin Minter, who is a lecturer. The other guy, who is he?
The constituency vice chair, Richard Apo, indicated that the cleanup exercise is a way of cleaning the path of the party's journey to victory in the 2024 elections.
And that's our recap of the news this morning. But stay with us. The news review is up next. We'll be back. Thank you for staying with us. Time now for us to get into the news review. I'll be joined shortly by development economist at the University for Development Studies, Dr. Michael Ayamga. But as always, we have a conversation on the prostate, that walnut-sized organ in your body, if you're a man, later on the show, in terms of dieting, in terms of how to keep yourself healthy. But that's for later. And that's why we are also proffering for you Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, because they're offering you, if you're a man, especially if you're in your late 30s or early 40s, nowadays you don't have to hit it before you start checking, because there are people in their late 20s coming up with prostate issues. They're offering you prostate screening for free. If you're a woman, fertility issues, there are so many of them, I can't even begin contemplating them. So many of our women wait till they have developed fibroids and all of that. Why? No one checked. No one knew what was happening. Before they could say Jack, there was trouble brewing. So why would you want to wait? Why don't you just get yourself screened from time to time? Even if it's once or twice a year, that's good enough for you. Again, the screening is for free at Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Here's where you can locate them. 1, right here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. 2, Kumasi Kronoma Bwehia behind the Angel Educational Complex. 3, Takrady Anaji State, if you find yourself in that part of the country. If you come back to Accra, there's Tema Community 22, there's Techiman Hanswa, and Asiama Nzema. Are you ready to take their phone numbers? There are 2 of them. First one, 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. A very good morning to you, Dr. Ayamga, if you can hear me. All right, so we'll shortly be joined by development economist at the University for Development Studies, Dr. Michael Ayamga. But before we get into that, if you've looked at the figures, so to speak, let me just get my data. You would notice that in terms of indebtedness to China, Ghana is at top. We're perched at the very top when it comes to Africa. And that, for me, is quite a worrying consideration. You would look at the fact that we are perched at around $3.1 billion. It may not have accumulated in a day, which is true, but the question is, how did we get here? And with those resources that we borrowed, what did we use them for? That is always the point. In fact, this morning, I looked at someone's quote on social media, and I slightly disagreed. So the person put there, successful societies, in fact, it's not today, it was sent days ago, but I have the picture. Successful societies don't pray for their leaders to succeed. They hold them accountable. I'll rephrase that. You must still pray for the leaders. So I'll put it this way. Successful societies don't only pray for their leaders to succeed, because that is also important. They hold them accountable as well. And I'm going to put that out today on social media. Successful societies don't only pray for their leaders to succeed, they hold them accountable as well. How are we holding our leaders accountable? Because in the end, all this debt, I remember back then, before the year 2000 and right after, I guess with our debt today, we probably would be saying, poor. Debt and a chain. And not just we, our progeny, posterity, even maybe our grandchildren will come and be paying these bills. Elizabeth Var reminded me yesterday of that situation in Norway with that fund. And I've spoken about it time without number, but yesterday she reminded me of it. Fund, since the 90s, I believe, for the generations to come from the oil wealth of Norway. So they are thinking of the future, so that even if that generation doesn't come to meet oil in their territory, they can still benefit. Here, even what we'll give to the future, we're consuming now. Now. We're destroying it now, even before the future comes. And we sit aloof and we say, oh, let's pray. Where are the Women's Aglow people? Are they still alive? Are they still there? Let's pray. Yeah, let's pray. I agree. I'm very Christian, very Catholic. Let's pray. But beyond the prayers, are we holding our leaders accountable? And are they delivering? I get very sad and even annoyed. I speak to so many people this week. Just yesterday, I was speaking to someone. Many more people are contemplating leaving the country. Anyway, but there is some sort of good news, because the latest inflationary figures point to a decline in inflation. It's dropped to around 26%, but don't celebrate yet. Don't. Yesterday, I had an interaction with the government's statistician. And Prof, a very good morning to you. I'm so grateful that you're always available to us. That's one of the things I respect you for. I had a conversation, extensive one, with Professor Nim, and he took his time to walk me through some of what was happening. So yes, year on year, comparatively, inflation, we could say, has declined. But if you look at the month on month, because I put it to him looking at the 8% decline, 8% plus decline, and said, Prof, but I'm still going out there. I'm buying rice, I'm buying fish, I'm buying meat, I'm buying this, I'm buying that. I know your stock, the basket they use is over 300 items, 307 to be specific, and they go to about 40,000 plus, is it, outlets or the range of goods. And he explained to me that, yes, you're right. So year on year, it may have declined, but month on month, it has actually appreciated. And in fact, it's only about maybe 9% of the items in there that have actually decreased in price. All the others, about over 50%, have gone up. So even with this inflationary figure, you have to adjust it and understand properly what exactly you're saying. We've been joined now by Dr. Michael Ayamga. Doc, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Ben. It's nice to join you and happy to see you looking sharp.
Thank you very much. You're not doing badly either. Let's go straight for it because we have, I'm good I could put a smile on your face. We have limited time, a maximum of about 25, 30 minutes. So 2 quick questions. Our debt to China, I'm sure you've seen the profile. We're the highest in Africa in terms of indebtedness. But to be fair to this administration, all of this was not accrued just by the MPP. Let's be fair. Let's say what is right. Then 2, inflation has dipped to around 26%. Were you expecting that? And I was just mentioning that I had an interaction with the government statistician. And he mentioned to me that, listen, this is the year-on-year inflation we're looking at. That's the depreciation. But when you look at month-on-month, it's a different picture because you'll still go out there and some items are actually more expensive than they were 3 months ago, 2 months ago, 1 month ago. What are the differences? Please, if you can, school our viewers on the dynamics.
Yes, thank you, Ben. The dynamics here has to do with the fact that on a monthly basis, if you compare this month, the month this time to the month last year, inflation figures have gone worse off. But maybe you're looking at this year versus the time last year, this time, the inflation has declined. So let me be honest here that any economist that sees a downward trend in inflation, regardless of the drivers, is happy, especially if you are living in this country where we have been under the knife of the fundamentals and trying to put body and soul together. And the government has been doing everything to have something to say. It's very heartwarming that at least we've had that big jump in decline in inflation. A month ago, some people were already skeptical and complaining about efforts to get people to pack these inflation figures. And I had that conversation with some colleagues when I visited Issa the other time, and somebody was telling me that we ought to be vigilant in terms of how we take in these numbers. But I'm happy. I don't want to go on the tangent of the clandestine and then also the conspiracy theories, but I think that I'm happy that the fundamentals, especially inflation, has seen that big jump. Is it significant? That is another question. If you still look at the general structure of the economy, we are still having a very, very weak currency, and we're still having a very huge import budget. And you expect that any small movement in the exchange market is going to increase, especially goods in the import basket, and you will have inflation probably tipping up again. So you also need to take it to context that we are in December. Much of the demand for foreign currency and other things for Christmas would have happened, and that will ease a whole lot of pressure on the city. And I believe that once that happens, you will begin to see some stability. It's also rainy season, harvest season in most parts of Ghana, especially in northern Ghana, where we had the basket. And food prices are going down. So that is also a seasonal effect, I would say here. So much as we ought to celebrate that, we are seeing this effect on the forex, on the inflation. If we don't follow it up with discipline, especially on the expenditure side, and then give some confidence to domestic producers so that we could at least achieve some level of production and reduce the rates at which prices are increasing. This may not inure to our benefits, but I largely agree with you, and I want to be optimistic, cautiously though, that it looks like even though we are still in the middle of the maze, we are turning corners, and if we are, as you said, if we continue praying and we hold our leaders accountable, yes, we may finally be able to get see some light at the end of the tunnel. But this is just one isolated instance that doesn't mean we are out of the woods or we have turned the corner.
Thank you for that succinct analysis, Doc. Let's get into the papers now. District level elections, over 66,000 vie for assembly unit committee slots. We've been talking about the local level elections for a while now. There's also constituency watch, as in Central. We can feed nation with support. That's the constituents saying so. And of course, we know the member of parliament for that area, Kennedy Ohene Ejapong. Easy to upload pink sheets on online portal. That story on page 16. Then 72,000 acre Accra land judgment. Occupants won't be dispossessed. That's according to legal counsel. That story is on page 26. I'll take a look. Many of you heard it yesterday on Joy 99.7 FM and right here on Joy News. And some of you have been worried. I'll break it down for you. Production of textbooks. Local publishers demand payment, and this is something I've been talking about, especially in respect of a 24-hour economy. I've always said, go to Newtown, right close to us here in Kukumlimli. It's a hub for printing. I've published books before, so I know a lot of these dealers, publishers, and where they are. We don't have proper publishers, so to speak, in Ghana in terms of what you would see abroad, where someone, you pen the piece, they edit the manuscript, they do the proofreading and everything else. They do the legwork in terms of marketing and all that. I don't know whether that industry even exists in Ghana, but I'm talking about purely publishing the work, okay? Just publishing it, whether it's self-publishing or whatever it may be. How about if they had the work, okay, to do, demand and supply, they could operate. I know entities right here in Newtown that actually operate overnight a lot of the time in the year because they have printing work to be done. That is one industry we should be targeting. And yet a lot of the time, you would even have stuff from here, from our governments, ministries, agencies, and the rest. Where do we outsource them? To China. So we're building their economy, and ours is in the doldrums. It's in the quagmire. It's in the mud. And we expect it to develop, build each sector, and things will go well. There were promises about producing textbooks locally and all of that. Now, payment to Nsua. And Nsua I asked them. Back page of the Daily Graphic, 2022, I beg your pardon, District League table, Korle-Klottey tops all. So I'll start from there. The Korle-Klottey Municipal Assembly, that's the Kokma in the Greater Accra region, has emerged with the overall best-ranked assembly in the country. According to the latest District League table, an initiative that ranks metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, according to key development indicators, Kokma scored 85.8%, beating off competition from the other 260 districts. Now, the current performance by Kokma, which saw it topple the Tema Metropolitan Assembly from the first position, is an improvement over the 2021 ranking when the Assembly placed 6th. So the Special Advisor of the Sustainable Development Goals Advisory Unit at the President's Office, Dr. Felix Adoyobo, who presented the findings of the 2022 DLT in Accra yesterday, said Kokma emerged the best-ranked local assembly based on 18 indicators in 8 sectors. So you look at the top 10. 3 MMDAs from the Greater Accra region made it to the top 10 on the league table, while the region also emerged as the overall best. The 2 other MMDAs in Greater Accra which made the top 10 were the Ayawaso West Municipal Assembly, that's the ALMA, and the Tema Metropolitan Assembly, that's the TMA. They scored 79.7% and 78.6% respectively. Then, of course, there were some that did not fare too well, but of course you can get the details from the full ranking. But let me get to the front page now. The Ghana Publishers Association has called on the government to release the remaining 80% of contract sums owed members for producing textbooks for primary schools. The association said that would reduce further liabilities its members were saddled with. The president of the GPA, Asari Kunedu Yamwa, said at the 47th annual general meeting of the association in Accra yesterday that only about 20% of the contract sum had been paid in August this year. Quoting him, he says, "The contracted publishers and the GPA are urging the Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, to release the remaining 80% now," the president of the GPA said. The event was on the theme, Book Procurement in Ghana, Resolving Challenges for Industrial Growth. But just to give you a bit of context to this before I wrap. In 2021, the government ceded 100% of the printing of textbooks for pupils in basic schools to local printers. For pre-qualification, all local publishers were directed to present their documents, which included signed contracts with local printers. The Minister of Education warned that publishers without agreements with local printers would not be considered in the offer. So they were boxed into a corner. Use local printers. For a start, the government said the textbooks had to be printed. They would cover kindergarten to primary 6. And then in June last year, 5 local printers subsequently commenced the printing of government textbooks for basic schools under the new curriculum. The printers are GPAC Limited, a subsidiary of the Graphic Communications Group Limited, the Back Press, Appointed Time Printing Limited, JK Industries Limited, and SecPrint Limited. The printers, which secured the printing contracts, had 3 months to complete the jobs and a month to deliver the books to the schools. 3 months to complete, a month to deliver, 4 months in total. The government subsequently took custody of the first batch of textbooks from Appointed Time Printing in July last year. Following the delay in the payment for work done, the publishers appealed to the government to honor its part of the agreement since it was affecting their operations. And since that time, it's been about trying to recover. What are your thoughts on these two matters before I move on to the next ones? So, District League table, Koliklote on top, and textbooks, education, as always. Get fund, you are capping it, using our money where it shouldn't be used. Now, even the textbooks, we can't pay for them. What are your quick thoughts, Dr. Ayamga?
Yeah, thank you. For the districts, my good friend Nana Tuata has been working very hard. Most of the times when we meet, we see how he's trying to get districts performing, even with the meager resources they are having. So I'm happy that we are trying to find a basis for comparing these districts. But I still likely think that some are better off by virtue of their location and economic activity in their areas. Some, like where I am coming from, in Zuarungu, where economic activity is very limited, and we are depending on the district assembly common funds and other donors to be able to implement the agenda. So you realize that you cannot actually compare or analyze their performance since they are mostly constrained. And then given that many of these funds have been in arrears over the years, and when you get to the assemblies, virtually nothing is happening. I'm not surprised that the top 10 are in areas where you have other internally generated funds from economic activity high. So, yes, we want to commend the approach, but I think that it's an uneven platform to compare performance of districts. But Koliklote, I am beginning to think that at least if you go through the area, it's very close to where our guest house is, and I stayed there, and I realized that there's been a lot going on in terms of at least pretending to get the place clean and to unchoke some of the drains here and there. So I'm not surprised that they are coming on top. But having said so, I believe that we must find a very effective, efficient, and uniform way of assessing districts so that the monies they have at their disposal doesn't unnecessarily give some the advantage. That's what I would say. On the issues of publishers, I feel really bad that we, at this point in time, not doing everything it would take to give domestic industries the edge. And under this crippling economy and the cost of borrowing increasing every day, it is unfathomable to even imagine that after companies and publishers have procured resources to produce textbooks for our education system, we are not paying them. And I think that the Ministry of Education is becoming very notorious for not honoring its parts of the bargain. It is not only people in publishing that it is disappointing. There are so many people. I can even tell you on authority that last week when I was in Germany and I had a meeting at the German Academic Exchange Services, I got to realize that the Ministry of Education failed to hold its end of the bargain of about $1 million, and that is actually affecting what we want to agree with the DAD to support tertiary education. So you realize that anytime you enter into these agreements and you don't allow them to come into fruition, you more or less put lives at risk. These publishers have to pay their workers. They have to pay off loans that they have procured to publish. And if we're having an education system that has consistently been dealing without steady supply of learning material, the only reasonable thing to do is to ensure that you are continuously resourcing the local printing sector so that they can support education. This is what we do, and if we don't pay them, the next time you hear the contract is gone to China because they'll say that China is ready to deliver. But we are not doing our part to ensure that the local printing industry is vibrant. It's a big industry everywhere, employs a lot of people, ensures that at least when it comes to teaching and learning material, you have a steady supply. It is only in this place that paying for textbooks is not at the front burner of the Ghana Education Service. It's kind of surprising. And it's not at least some small amount that remains, 80%. And you are asking yourself, how can a business survive when it is owed up to 80% by the government of the country? I think that the Ministry of Education needs to look forward. Everybody, it doesn't matter which sector you are, the inability of the Ministry of Education to hold on it, but be there even students on scholarship, they are facing challenges because we say we will pay and we have not paid. So if the Ministry of Education and the directors are listening, I think that it is an issue of urgency. It is an issue of patriotism. It is important that we don't put the lives of our future generation in peril by not actually holding up this bargain, because we are going to cripple businesses, jobs will be lost, and families are going to suffer.
Well, thank you for those thoughts. Let's quickly wrap with the Daily Graphic and move on. District level elections, over 66,000 vie for assembly and unit committee slots. Now, more than 66,000 people are vying for assembly and unit committee positions in the upcoming district level elections slated for Tuesday, December 19 this year. Statistics sourced from the Electoral Commission indicate that the contestants are made up of 18,755 assembly member candidates and 47,502 unit assembly candidates or unit committee member candidates, bringing the number to 66,257 candidates. They will be seeking election in 6,215 electoral areas across the 216 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. Just to add to that, we do know that the numbers have been pretty low over the years, sometimes dipping below 30%. The Electoral Commission says it is optimistic that this time would hit 50% plus. We're hoping for that. Again, there's talk about inflation. We spoke about it earlier, dropping to 26.4% in November. And that was from 35.2% in October 2023. But we've broken down for you the year on year and the month on month, so don't get it twisted. But the other story I want us to quickly look at, 72,000 acre land judgment. Occupants won't be dispossessed. Now, people who have bought land in the 70 areas where the Supreme Court judgment affected are not to be dispossessed. Such people, especially those who bought the land from the Numo Mashi family of Tishi, are now to go into new agreements with the relevant authorities in those areas. The lawyer who led the Boy Stool and 13 others to win the case, who did not want to be named, explained the import of the Supreme Court judgment that declared the Numo Mashi family of Tishi in the Greater Accra region as unable to hold themselves as owners of the over 72,000 acres of land. He told the Daily Graphic that the new owners would now arrange a tenancy agreement with those currently occupying the land. He also said, following the judgment, the Boy Stool, owners of 543 acres of the land that had been a subject of litigation for over 40 years, had written to the Lands Commission in a bid to execute the Supreme Court judgment, which directed the Commission to expunge all registration and certificates issued to the Numo Mashi family of Tishi in respect of the 72,000 acres. Now, there's actually a cluster of families in there. And the question is, moving forward, some demands will be made on these people. How to avoid further payment and repayment, because they will not be dispossessed, but some exchanges will happen, monetary exchanges and ownership exchanges, and all of that are going to happen. We just want a situation where maybe no one comes and, oh, you've paid to this family. I'm not talking about the Numo Mashi family. In this Boy Stool, okay, it's a number of families. You don't pay to this one, and this one comes and says, oh, actually, we are the one you're supposed to pay to, and all of that. Those are some of the concerns people have had. Did you have any quick take on this before we move on, Doc?
Yes, it's worrying. When I read the judgment, I was particularly scared. At least being someone who has been working on land, I think that our, let me call it, confused land management and land laws make it very difficult for people to buy land, be secure that they've acquired lands that they can put up infrastructure, put up their businesses and be able to. Now, what this has done is it opens the door for every other thing. Their lawyers can say they are not going to pay, but that is rather optimistic if you ask me. They may tell you they are not going to sell the land to you again, but going to arrange a new lease is going to come at a very significant cost that it may even mean buying it again. And I feel that maybe there should have been some further clarification to insist that the new owners go after the old owners to get whatever proceeds they can get from the sale of the land, rather than opening a new front for negotiations. Negotiations is going to cost families, and you can be sure that in Accra, the demand for land is so high that people who have properties on these lands may be forced to make new payments or even pay much, much more than they did for the pieces of land. It is going to be, you have the option to enter a new agreement, and if you can, then maybe you may be dispossessed. So me sitting here, I see that there may be some dispossessions along the way if people don't succeed in paying the new demands. It's not going to be sale, but it will come in the forms of other fees and other forms of engagement. And whether you like it or not, it is going to affect the occupants of the land at the end of the day. I don't think that there is enough room here to protect them. And I am very, very worried.
For those of you who are trying to join the live stream, both for the news and the news review, who can't do so, I believe there are some technical glitches. Our sincere apologies to you. I cannot find it myself, so I understand your plight. Do be patient with us. Please bear with us. We'll try to remedy the situation. The Ghanaian Times newspaper, towards accident-free Yuletide, will deal with reckless drivers. Transport operators warn. Inflation falls to 26.4% in November. $200 million project to curb Accra perennial flooding takes off. $600 million prestige project to enhance Kotoka International Airport skyline launched. And on the back page, $2 million project to improve electricity regulation in West Africa launched as well. Okay. And there's Play Ghana campaign to promote local music comes alive. As for the bit about perennial flooding, I don't know, but let me just bring the story through. So it says, the Minister of Works and Housing, Francis Asensubwachi, yesterday cut a sod to commence a $200 million World Bank-funded project aimed at curbing flooding in communities along the Odo River Basin. The first phase of the project involves the development of primary and secondary drains, access roads, solid waste management facilities, and the extension of security lights and water supply networks at Alogboshi in the Okaikwe North municipality. This is not the market area. This is a different area. Similar infrastructure will be developed in the coming weeks at Akwetiman and Nima, the remaining two beneficiary flood-prone low-income settlements under the Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development Project. That is the GARID project. To the World Bank, I'll just say, keep your eyes on the ground and your eyes on the money so that we get value for it. That's all I will say. That's the bit there. The Daily Guide. Hello World gives 60 computers to schools. Insights from Bank of Ghana Governor unpacking pre-COVID stability and post-COVID crisis. Election 2024. Easy to display results on website. Cannabis, not we. MPs divided over legislation. And John Bwedu takes over SIGA. All of that in there. And I think that's where I'm going to cap it off so that you can give your responses and then we can wrap. So John Bwedu is the acting Director General of SIGA. There's also cannabis, not we. MPs in Parliament divided over legislation. The EC says it will display electoral results on website live, that is in 2024, not those district level elections. And then flooding in Accra, $200 million project takes off. World Bank, and I'm just saying they should keep their eyes on the ball. Any final words for us, maybe in a minute or maximum two, Dr. Ayamga?
Yes, let me talk a little bit on the flooding, because that is something that hits all of us anytime it rains. And you look at the flooding along the Odo River and you will say that it's an issue of we not wanting to fix the problem, not an issue of resources. And that has been the problem of the World Bank.
Right.
They throw resources at everything and expecting results. And you can't count the number of times funds have been allocated to dredge the Odo River to deal with the flooding in that area. And some of the times you wonder what has gone on. We all know that the reason for the flooding goes beyond choke gutters to mostly the settlement patterns and other things. And anytime somebody wants to do something, you have backdoor negotiations, backdoor pressures brought to bear, and the next day you see that all those structures that are supposed to give way for us to be able to manage the flow of water when it runs are still standing there. So I'm not going to show any optimism as far as this is concerned. We'll spend this 200 million, we'll spend it very well, we'll account for it properly, and then we'll still have flooding. That one I can guarantee you, because what is required to deal with the flooding issue goes beyond an issue of money. It is issue of political will and the willingness to do what it takes, rather than we not having the resources. On the EC, it's fine. EC has always tried to display results on its website. Only that on election day, when you go there, there are no updates. On election day, it gets clocked. Everybody wants to see the results, so you have the system overwhelmed, and nothing seems to be happening. And I don't want to go on the other side that to think of whether their systems are secure enough to be able to protect the integrity of this thing. So it's good to have the EC say it's going to project the results live. I'm very certain that on election day, we'll be sitting here 3 days after elections, and the EC have not updated its website. It has been a familiar story. I also want to wonder whether this has been discussed with the various political parties, and at IPAC there has been agreement that this is the best way to go. I think that the EC ought to be more engaging in this in the run-up to the 2024 elections, rather than sometimes just take these decisions and put them up there. You need to prepare both the citizens and also the parties for such a system, because they are stakeholders. I don't know the extent to which the EC has prepared parties and the discussion that has gone on for this. But anything that will make the elections more credible and transparent, we are all for it. Just that I'm cautiously optimistic, and I'm very sure that on the elections, the EC is going to do this.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ayamga, for joining us this morning. Dr. Michael Ayamga is a development economist at the University for Development Studies. Before we bring you Prime Take, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, helping us to bring you this segment every week a day. And of course, today is no exception. Now, they're offering you free prostate screening if you're a man, free fertility screening if you're a woman. Here's where you can locate them. Here in Accra at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. There's Kumasi Krodoma Boy here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Tichiman Hansua, and Esiama Nzama. If you'd like to call them, their numbers are 0244 867 068. There's also 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be sharing with you my blunt thoughts as always today. This will be after Prime Take. I'll be taking a look at the Office of the Special Prosecutor. I'll be talking a bit about China's debt and the exodus of some of our health workers. All of that will be on the table. But for now, on Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, today he interacts with former Black Stars goalie Fatau Dauda. Remember him? He is now the goalkeepers trainer of the Sudanese national team. Enjoy the conversation.
Thank you very much for your time.
How are you doing? I'm okay, I'm fine.
I'm doing good too. You look good.
I still keeping fit,
Oh,
so sometimes when you start coaching, you don't have time to train for yourself. So if you need time, that's where you start having some fatty in your body. So at least I keep training, I keep fit maybe twice in a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the Dubai weather, then Sudan weather, then Saudi weather, they're all part of?
Yeah, Saudi weather, we were very fortunate to have a place called Taif.
Okay.
That place is where, if you hear the history of Islam, that's where they gossip about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks Prophet, what should I do to these people? And he said, no, leave them. They don't know I'm Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Allah blessed that city with cold. So when we were there continuously like 2 weeks, it was raining. That's a place that people have been coming sometimes when it's summertime, like summertime, or when it's winter time, people go there because the places they have different weather.
Wow.
And it's not far from Mecca.
So
I use the advantage, I use this advantage to visit the Haram, the Umrah. So I did Umrah 2 times because it's 1 hour 30 minutes from Taif to Mecca.
Oh, I see. Then you really had fun in Saudi.
Sure,
that was a good one. But talk to us briefly, Lion. Where did your journey begin into football? Where were you born? What was your upbringing like?
This is a good question. I think I need to brief you so that you understand that those who know me in Medina, they used to call me Ezo. So if I'm walking in town and someone calls me Ezo, I need to, maybe the person knows me very well.
So another name
Ezo.
that you have is Ezo.
Ezo. That's when I started playing my under 12 course and then other things.
Was this some kind of a nickname or something?
Yes. When I started playing as an under 12 player, I used to have one guy called Audwala. He's late now. May his soul rest in peace. We are closer to each other at Medina, Medina Central. So we used to form this under 12. We used to go to Makaranta on Saturday and Sunday, and that's when we played those games. So sometimes I need to dodge Makaranta and come and play, and then the Makaranta they will send big boys in the Makaranta to come and pick you up if you don't come to Makaranta. But nowadays I'm not sure they do. But those things that they do, I think it helps us to at least know about Islam. You understand? And I also love the football. So I remember there's one time I didn't go to Makata when we were playing a gala. I need to come and keep. I was very little. That day, the park is just in front of our house at Medina. So we were playing with big boys. I was very little. I was just play the ball. I would just make the save. And then they went to the house and called my mother and father to come and look at it. Hey, come and see your son. Somebody asked him to go to Makata, he's playing. Come and see the way people, and the people are cheering me up. So they came to the studio and they watched me and they were like, we have a son who can keep. And that day, my meal in the house is different. But I was still scared because I know they will beat me because I didn't go to Makata. But they didn't. So that moment encouraged me to keep on. So I have a long story,
Just share the story with that. Just share our story with that.
So maybe in future I have to write a book which can motivate
other people.
Not only footballers. Because my life, my story is like sequence, like this.
Give us a bit of it. Give us a bit of it, like where you were born, your upbringing, everything. Just give us a gist.
Well, I was born in Medina. Just closer to Medina Polyclinic. That's where our house is. We are 6, 4 boys, 2 girls, and my mother and my father, they are no more. But they done a lot for me. My mother is a part that's why I can sit here at least and speak English with you. He forced me to go to school, but I was focusing on the football. So I remember those years, it's not easy to get coast football to play in Accra. Coast was very tough. I went to Golden Tulip, they have one coast team. I went to Tras, I went to Tema. Tema coast is one of the best coasts those started in Ghana. I didn't get coast to play, so I need to play this we call it Munchendi. Maybe Mufta will come and high Lion. We go and play for him on Saturday. We finish, I give you 1 city, 2 cities.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we call Munchendi. Yes. I used to go to Taba, Ashama, Adabraka, and other places. Until I went to school at Cape Coast. That's where I had a chance to play Coast.
Okay.
Coast team. I had a chance to play one coast called House Babies in Cape Coast. Okay. So I played. When I finished school, I came back to Accra. I joined Medina United. That's a team owned by the late Mr. Jordan Anabla.
Okay.
That's his team, a very big team in Medina. We used to have 2 big teams in Medina Republicans and Medina United. Republicans, we have Wadi Ablode, Owusu Benson, Kujoado, other big guys they play in that team. You know, those times, second division is like the premiership, very tough. So I had a chance to play for the second division. But before then, I started with this under 12, Orlando Babies. That's the guy I say he is no more. How do I make so recipes? Great Olivers, also in Medina, and then Hallmark, all in Medina. I played before I started playing the coast, and I came back to start with the second division. So I think I played all the division in Ghana: coast, third division, second division, first division, and then Premier. I've played, I've tested all, so I know how the foundation is very, 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 very tough, very great. But you can pass through this when you have the passion. Because along the line you meet rough, very rough, but I know what I want to do, so I pass through. It's like going to primary, JSS, secondary school, university, so, do your masters. The same.
So what were the rough edges you met trying to climb the ladder?
I remember one time, after second division, let me continue now, I can give you the story. There's one guy called Shamo. He used to play for Hovoradep. He's now in the US. So, but then Hovoradep was in the first division. So they needed a goalkeeper. This story that I'm telling, I was very young that time, but because I'm very tough, like, I'm Zongo boy.
Yeah.
Yes. So he took me to join Hovoradep. I went to train with them once, and they said, no, they need to sign me. So they came back to Accra for my document from Mr. Jordan Anabla. Because he wanted them to play, I remember the money he took from them. That money cannot even transport Mr. Anabla from his office at Art Center to Medina. But he wanted me to go. So he just said, whatever you have, just bring them, take the boy away. That was my breakthrough in my football career. I went to Voradep to play 3 years. We were able to go to Premier playoffs, Voradep.
Yeah.
So I played for 3 years. I played for very tough. After 3 years, I decided I want to play in the Premiership. You see my determination. I want to play in the Premiership. But the Premiership was tough, very tough. Even if Olympics and Bafako are playing, you could see that they are playing football, tough players. There's no small team. By then, we know already Hassan Kotoko have been dominating the parts. They don't have it easy. So I came back from Voradep back to Accra to find a club. I need to go to Justify Trust. I remember I started with Liberty. And the one who took me to Liberty is also a goalkeeper in Liberty called Kujuado. Was with Liberty that time. He was the one who has been training me that time. Because when I started playing, I had one guy who called me one time and asked me if I want to keep, I should go and see Kujuado. But then he was the top goalkeeper in Medina.
Oh, okay.
And he lives at Medina New Road. Okay. And I live at Medina Old Road.
Okay.
So imagine that time, for me to get money to transport, I had to walk because I knew what I was. So I need to walk from Old Road to New Road to go and see Kujuado. And then he said, no, I'm ready. You don't worry. If you are ready to play, I will help you. And he likes training. Kujuado. So I think I took everything. And he's the rare lion. But it was coincidence. People I think I took the name from him. But no. I got that name from when I was in Ashgur. We'll come to Ashgur. Let me just...
you build the point.
So I went to Kujo. After prayers done, I had to walk to from Old Road to New Road. I walked and I went to Kujo. And by then, his father wasn't well. So Kujo has to wake up at 4 a.m. bath the man before he can do anything else. So I need to wait on him in front of their house. Maybe 1 hour, we finish, we walk from Medina, New Road to Presec Secondary School.
Yeah.
there's a park there. That's where we used to train. We walk with our maybe 1 ball or 2 balls to go and train. He has been pushing me, encouraging me. So when I was home, he decided to take me to do a try with Liberty Professions in Dansuma. I went there all right. And Sly was there, may he still rest in peace. No, they saw some potential in me. But I was very young. For that one, I agree with them. But it wasn't before like they used to have youth teams. Yeah. Like they would have kept me there. So they allowed me to go, that I should go, and then maybe another year. I wasn't happy. I feel like, no, I want to play. So I was playing with, we went to play some gala in Kaukudi. You know, Nima, they used to play this base. You two can fly. Yes. So I went to play for You Two Can Fly. There's a base in Nima. I went to play with them. After I came back from Liberty Professional Training, and one guy called me, and then I went to play with them. So I was playing. We progressed in that gala. We progressed. So I was there, and then Sumaila Abdallah, former Dewu Youngsters goalkeeper. Okay. He came there to see me. He said, no, Oko United are doing Justify, and their goalkeeper is going to Olympics. They have one goalkeeper is leaving Oko to Olympics, so they are doing trials to pick a goalkeeper. I said, okay, I will go. So he said I should go. He has spoken with the coach. The coach is Sule Mohammed. Was assistant coach in under 20 when Afrani was under 20 coach. Okay. Yeah, so he was the coach. So I went to Kebu and Wallace and Bubuash. Yeah. I went there. They were training, and I went to greet the coach. So I was down Sumala. I said, okay. A lot of people, a lot of players, more than 100 players. Best like 30. But the coach did well by giving everyone a chance to play, even if it's 15 minutes. And the coach, if you see player playing, you don't have to allow the player to play 1 hour, 30 minutes.
Before you can see what the player can do.
So I had a chance to play like 30 minutes, and they changed me to come out. And then the goalkeepers, they be coming. They are regular trialists, so they be coming. So I was the first. That was my first time coming. And luckily enough, 3 days, I went there on Monday. So the 3rd day, I think it was a holiday. This 1st July or so. So they need to go and play a game with Azakes at Jendu Park. So I was lucky, and they selected me. We went there with the only just 5 players. The only senior player we had in the team was one guy. He was the only senior player who went to play that game in 2nd D with Azakes. They paired their players, and then we were able to play 1-1. So imagine a team like Oko going away to play with Azakes 1-1 with the justified players. So that means those of us who went for the game a chance to play for Oko United.
Oh, okay.
We came back, and they need to, because the following week the league is starting. They need to get our cast, everything. So for me, I wrote a floating against Vuradep because they never fulfilled their promise. So I need to be free player. So the Oko United secretary was Mr. Odro Nyakon.
This kind of Odro Nyakon?
He was the general secretary for Oko United.
Wow.
Very intelligent man. So I came, they were asking me, Fatah, so how can we get a car? So no, I've already put in floating. So floating, oh, don't worry, you go. So I never told my my floating letter, and Oko United never gave me a contract. I was happy to get a team to play. I wasn't thinking about my signing on fee, my contract. League is starting, and I've been looking for team, and now the chance has come. I should talk about signing on fee. No, I won't do that. You know, the passion is there. So Mr. Duriaku did everything, and they got me registered, and we started a league, and I started playing. You know,
even with that contract.
With that contract.
But did the contract eventually come?
I didn't see the contract till I left Oko United, and they benefited a lot from me when I.
Then how were they paying you?
Cash in hand. They were paying me anytime.
Any amount. Because you had no agreement that you should pay me this amount.
But you know, if you are doing good, it's good for you. Do you know why I say that? When I win a match, the money I get for the Oko United support in Abosoka is more than ×5 my salary. So all that I want to win a game, the following day, Monday, I will just pick a car from Medina to Abosoka. Before I come out from Abosoka, I can buy football boots like 3 or 4 gloves.
Was it deliberate? You just wanted to go there, they'll give you money?
No. They will be calling for Taya Bra. The supporters will be in the bus, Charlie, bra. I will go, and they will give me everything. So I was happy playing. You know, I was doing with my heart.
Yeah.
And then God used them to bless me.
Yeah.
So I played Oko United for 2 seasons. So the 2nd season, we want to play league match with Ashgood. That's where I started. So I remember the game. We went there. We drew 1-1 with Ashgood. By then they have Valentine, George Rano, Shabu Yakubu, Kenneth Ababio, Abukari Kankani. But then you can't go and even draw in Obuasi. We went there. We drew 0-0. And they started tracking me. I said, no, this boy.
You were in the goalpost?
Yes.
Okay.
We went again the second season. The second season, then the Nkoko Stadium was closed. So we were playing our home matches in Accra Stadium.
Oh, okay.
On Saturday, we share Saturdays with Liberty.
Oh, okay.
And then Sundays is for House and Olympics.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's where we play our league matches. So we played the game. It was midweek in Accra, and we lost. So we're going to Obuasi, just imagine. Losing at home, do you think you are going to win in Obuasi? There's no way. But if you compare individual players,
because that group,
so a lot of players ran away from the game. We went there without the reserve goalkeeper, and I said, no, I will go. So I never knew that was going to be my breakthrough. We lost that game 2-0, but I was man of the match. But then there wasn't like after game they will give you man of the match.
They will give you something.
Could you imagine the Ashgood supporters was one who they carried me up straight to our bus. And they were telling me that, no, the management, they need to bring me in, the following season. I have one man, still I used to talk to him, he's in the US now. He's the one, he has been calling me almost every day when I came back to Accra, every day. But then Uti Anketa was the coach there in Ashgood. I was there one time, we played a game with United at Accra State on Saturday, no, it was Friday. We finished and then so let me go to Abosuka and go and do my normal susu. So I went there, I was there, and then I had a call. By then, to House of Folk also wanted to come for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Ashgood, listen. But I have one thing in my career. I always take first opportunity first. I don't say, maybe Muftau want to come for me, and then Kweku want to come for me. So I'll wait. Kweku's offer is big, or Kweku's structure is better than. So I'll wait. I'll ignore Muftau and wait for Kweku. No, I didn't do that. The first approach was Ashgood. Go first by then. Mr. Andesam, Captain Andesam. He called me. Hello, Fatao. But then, sometimes I'll be around 2 days, 3 days, no call. Who will call me? Nobody will call you that time. Because for me to have SIM that time, it was very expensive. Yeah. So, like, all the time, I even want somebody to come to feel like, hey, Talemania call. So, it's not like now somebody will call somebody and then you don't pick it.
Every now and then, the calls are coming through. You see the call.
I don't want to pick some. But I have that attitude. So now, if I don't pick your call, maybe I'm sleeping or I'm praying. I'll call you back. If I call you back, what I don't know you and what you're saying is not relevant, I'll not pick your call again. That's how I am. Yeah. So it's about attitude. So I picked the call. Hello? Is that Fatao? Yes, Fatao. My name is Captain Andesam, the CEO of Ashgood. Imagine. Fatao, just imagine. So he said, okay, we want you to come to Ashgood. So you can come to Obuasi on Monday and start training with the team. And it was Saturday. So that day, the money I had from Abosuka, I need to go around and buy some new stuff. Because I'm going to new environment, so I need to change things. I need to go and buy sponge, new Pepsodent, new socks.
Yeah.
I just Abosuka to Kantamanto, it's not far. So I just went there, got some boots, some gloves, I prepared, and I called a guy that, I want to go to Obuasi tomorrow. So where can I get a bus? The man I was talking to you about, I was talking about him. He said, when I go to Kaneshi, I should ask of where they pick Obuasi car. I said, okay. So I did that, and then I went to take that. And 207 is the car that's in the system. So I went and then I joined the 207 straight to Obuasi. I went there on Sunday evening, and then I went to the secretariat. The security was there. And said, okay, they know I'll come, so they accommodated me, and then the following day I started training. So like 2-3 days, because I need to come and train with them, and then I'll do my medicals.
Okay.
Then that's how they do it. So far as you are there, unless maybe you are not fit.
Okay.
If they will not sign you, you will never come there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So they just want me to feel the environment. And
before you are signed?
Yes. So I was just trained, not that they want me to play just if I know. I just trained like 2 days, and then I went to the AG hospital to do my medicals. And I was more than fit. So the doctor was telling me, hey, this boy is strong. That time, fresh blood. So I passed the medical, and I signed the contract. They called Odo Nyako, the secretary, to come and take their check. He came, they gave me the check. I didn't know my contract.
You didn't know what was in the contract?
I didn't know. Like from Oko United.
Yeah.
But for Ashgo, they are a professional club. So they give me the contract. I know whatever they are going to pay me, my signing on fee, everything. So I signed the contract. At that time, there's no manager. Like now, if you are going to sell a club, Muftar say, I'm your manager. No. I went, and Ashgo never cheated on me. They give me the right contract. And I signed the contract. 3 years. My signing on fee, they will give me every year. They will give me part of the signing on fee.
Yeah.
The day I signed the contract, and they asked me to go and see, I go to go to the account office to get my check. I went there, I got my check to the bank.
Good money?
Good money.
How much?
It was good. It was, they're supposed to give me 4,000 Ghana cedis, 40 million. And they give me 2,000.
Those days?
Yes.
Wow.
That 2,000, they give me, I went to the bank. You know, when they give you check, the money is supposed to reflect in 3 days.
Yeah.
But I went there, we got the bank, there was a man there, he's Ashgo supporter, so there's some money you can pay if you want a quick thing. So I did that because I needed the money to come to Accra. There are a lot of things for me to come and do. Don't go boy Amanya 2,000, imagine. So I took this check, I went and I cashed the money. I was in the car, I was just praying to get to Accra. It was a lot of plans. My mother, may her soul rest in peace. She was having some land in Asalabuche. She built 2 bedrooms because she wanted to capture the land. You know, in Accra, if you have land, you don't donate it, or you lose it. So I told her, no, I have some money, I'm coming, so we can complete
the place.
I brought the money, and we completed the 2 bedrooms, and I even built another 2 bedrooms on the land. By then, we were living in our father's house in Medina.
So during your days at Ashgold, you were able to build a house?
Yes.
And then they were paying you that well?
Yes. Things weren't expensive like...
Yeah, they are today.
Yes. So I did. And then my second year, before I reported to camp, the second balance was already in my account. The second balance was already in my account. And I used it to complete the project.
Wow.
Every month, your salary will come. Every month. Your bonus, unless you don't win much. That's good. You can even win a match, and then your bonus will be there. They will bring the following day. They will bring the bonus because it's a well structured that time.
Yeah.
But they will do the bonuses. If you don't win, they will take back the money back to the company. You know, okay, they write like 30 matches.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's already budgeted and everything is in place.
Well structured. So just win and then take your money. So I was feeling comfortable. Where you sleep, you don't pay light bill, you don't pay water bill, nothing. 24 hours electricity because we were using the same electricity as the miners.
Oh, okay.
You know, going to mining, you need light 24 hours. Yeah. So we were using, there will be light out in the whole of Washington, but where we live is called Samjona Estate. They have different estates, but where we live is Samjona, where the junior staff lives. Yeah. Samjona is, I never experienced light out there.
You really enjoyed the overseas?
Yes, very well. Very well.
Were your parents rich? Or they were
not rich in financial, but rich with wisdom and health. That's how I see it as rich.
But financially too, maybe you needed the money to be able to do some important things in your life. Maybe you come home, there's food for you to eat. Because some of us growing up, there was no food at home.
For food, even outsiders come to our house to eat. You know, let me say Northerners, Muslims. Yeah. When we prepare food, we do it a lot.
We are like that.
Yes.
You don't need to be part of the family. Just come and meet us eating and you eat.
You join.
Okay.
So for that one, alhamdulillah.
So was it from Ashgold that you got a call up to the senior national team, or how did that happen?
Yes. That's a good question. So when I was in Oko United, there was a game we played against Kotoko at the Accra Sports Stadium. After the game, I had a call to join under 20, the satellite, 2002. But then they were camping in Winneba.
Okay.
Now, national team from the U17 and the Blastard, I think things are getting better when it comes to wearing kit. tickets, where you sleep.
Yeah, your outfit and all that.
Those times, when I'm going to camp, I need to take my own jersey in Winneba under 20. So I just lasted only for 2 weeks in camp. Even with that, it motivated me to come and do more for Opo United. And so when I went to Ashgood, we were playing along the line. Mr. Fiano came in as a CEO, and Duncan also came in, who also played much role in my career. Even after my football, he encouraged me to be a coach. I told him I wanted to be a general coach. He said, no, be a goalkeeper coach because of your passion, your character, your attitude. So I took his advice, and now it's paying.
Yeah,
it's paying. Not financially, but the knowledge.
Even financially.
No. You know that story, people know that I'm going to get. No. That story is not true. It's never true. No. Like by now, you come and see me in different house. I'll do 700,000. I can use 300,000 to buy a house in this area.
Oh yes.
But it's good. That this opportunity alone is a huge for me in my profile. I started coaching 1.5 years. Satellite, Ghana under 20.
Yeah.
And Sudan. So imagine whatness. You know, we move with faith, you understand? And your work ethics will define you.
Will also define you.
And the big thanks to Right to Dream Academy, they give you the knowledge.
During your days at Ashgood, I remember you also went to South Africa. You played for Orlando Pirates, you played for Chippa United,
Enyimba.
And then Enyimba as well. How did the Orlando Pirates, Chippa United, and Enyimba journey all happened before you came back to Lagos City?
So should we talk about the national team and then go to club side?
No, just continue with the club because we are at the club level. Ashgood, and so just
because you asked how did I manage to play in the national team?
Yeah.
So let's finish the club.
Yeah, let's talk the club football. Let's talk club. We'll come back to the national team.
So my chance to after Ashgood, how I got to Orlando Pirates is about the national team. That gave me the platform after 2013 AFCON in South Africa. My best tournament. That's the award. Man of the match against Cape Verde.
Yes, this was the one you made the save.
It doesn't happen in life. Goalkeeper winning
man of the match.
Those time in a big competition or a tournament. It doesn't happen.
Quite rare.
But it's Allah. That's it. Man of the match against Cape Verde.
I see. Wow.
That's my best game in my life.
Really?
Yeah, my best. You know why it was my not because of the award.
Why?
We were chasing result. We were leading Cape Verde 1-0, and they were on us until their goalkeeper decided, no, let me come. It's 2 minutes to go. Let me come and see if I can get a corner to nod. And then we got a counter, Wakaso, straight from our to the final. You see, so I was like, no, we wanted to win this match, and we were trying to man the game, and then now. The match is over, and then we had this goal. So like, no, over happiness. I never knew I'll win this thing. I was there, and the Sani Dara came to call me that I need to go for is it post match or what?
Yeah, pitch
side. But I've been voted as a man of the match. I was like, is it a dream? But that game. Had a good game.
Yeah, I remember the save you made. Yes. That one with you. So you didn't roar like a lion.
Yes, it's after that tournament that I had that Orlando Pirates chance. They saw me, no recommendation from agent, no bring your video, no bring your profile. They saw me. That's why if you are playing as a footballer all the time, try to get integrity. Play. Don't play because you are playing for someone. Play for yourself. Focus. As you are playing well. People are watching you, like our league.
Yeah.
People feel like no, now there's no money in the league. But trust me, what I've realized is if you are playing the league and you are doing well, going to play outside, you can mention them.
Opportunities.
A lot of best goalkeepers, they don't stay in the league. They go.
Yeah.
Best players, goalkeeper, they go. They value the league, but players don't value the league because fine, we play for money, but put a sacrifice and focus. And see where you go. I was a local player playing the national team. My first AFCON was 2008.
Yeah, I remember.
Remember, I was in the team.
And the club, right?
Do you know how I managed to get to the team?
Tell me.
Let's start from there. So after Satellite, it's like I want to go.
No, tell me about how you got to 2008 AFCON.
Okay.
You just tell me.
So Ashgold went to Equatorial Guinea to play CAF Confederation Cup with one team there. They call it Resemento, some team. We went there and we went with Achi. He was with Kesby, he was the commentator. Yeah. So, and that game too, I did well. I did very well. So he was giving commentary. And then he was saying whatever I was doing, he was saying it. He wasn't adding some spices. No. I was doing the right thing. And so he caught the attention of Coach Atukufio, Sabankwe. They were the three. Yeah. They still recipes, Coach Atukufio. Very good coach. Very coach who doesn't joke with his philosophy. If you say, Muftar, you are my number one, you are my number one. He will let you understand before you come to the team. So I came back. We came back from the game, and I was invited to join the U23 because by then I was over 20, so I need to join the 23. So I was in the team. When I came to the team, he told me, I want you to be in the team, but I have Eric Niba, who is his number one, because they started the project about 3-4 years. You know, the Olympic team is always started. So he's my number one, but we are coming as my number two. And I was saying in my head, Coach, if I'm number 4, so far as I'm in the team, it's national team, I don't have problem. You understand? Yeah. How many players or goalkeepers will you have there to say this? You come there and want to compete with you. You don't have clean heart. So he's hunting them. You understand? So we went to Benin, my first game, we played the Benin national team because I think Jones as coach in Benin, so he went with us to play friendly game. That was my first game with Meteors, myself, Kuja Samoa. We joined the team at the same time. And when we beat them 2-0, and it's Kuja Samoa who scored all the 2 goals, and I also kept a clean sheet and had a good game. So that's how I had a chance to be in the U23. So we're there playing. We went to South Africa to play Olympic qualifier with South Africa. We beat them 3-1 there. We came like 3-4 days. They give us bonus, $2,000. That's my first time
holding dollars.
No, dollars like more than 700 or 500. Because when I was Ashgold, when we go to but this one was like bulk. You can do something with it, $2,000. You know, me playing Ashgold, getting signing on fee to do something. Imagine getting $2,000. Yeah. You understand? So they came to the second leg 2 weeks after. They came back for the second leg 2 weeks time. We played. We beat them another 3-1, another $2,000. So
that's $4,000.
Yes, within 2 weeks. So in our last game against Nigeria, we needed a win, and Nigeria needed a draw because they had a last match to play against South Africa in Nigeria. You remember?
I remember.
Yes. And the minister came to Accra Sports Stadium. By then, Ghana about to host the.
You had the likes of Samuel Nkrumah and co all part of the team?
No, that time Samuel wasn't in the team.
Okay.
Yeah. Samuel's time, that time was different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the minister came to promise us if we win that game against Nigeria, he will give us double of the bonus. So like, so prayers, everything. I know I won't play, but I need to do everything possible. I need to be a team player, support the players, support who is going to play. And Ghana was about to host the Constituency, so they are about to play 4 nations?
4 nations tournament.
Yes. So they were training at Accra Sports Stadium. That's where we were also training. We would train early, and they come like 5 to train. So I remember then AJ and Olile was.
Yeah, they were the
keepers for last time, and they wanted to take one local goalkeeper, but they've not made a decision yet. So because Niba is going to play the Nigeria game, sometimes when we finish training, the Blasters will come to train, and they have only one goalkeeper. It's only so. Conroy wanted to get another keeper for training purpose to make his training
his team complete.
Yes. Yeah. So they will ask me to stay to train with the Blasters because I'm not going to play the Nigeria game.
Yeah.
So I need to stay back and train with the Blasters. I was happy. Imagine that time training with the Blasters alone. It wasn't easy. And the news was all over in Obuasi. Hey, Fatah is the Blasters. So I was not thinking about me going to the AFCON. I was just happy training with the Blasters. Not knowing that moment is going to be breakthrough for me. You'll be surprised. So we played the game on Friday against Nigeria. We have a lot of the guys from the 23 that automatically have to join the Blasters for the AFCON. Bernard Kumoji, Kuja Samoa, I think Pestego, and one nephew Idrisu. But because we would not win that match, some of them were dropped from the squad. because we were supposed to win and go to Olympic Games. So like everything scattered, and then we finished the camp.
But
so we need to go.
That Nigeria Olympic team was very strong.
Very strong. So we all went to our clubs. I went to my club as well. But before I went, I came to watch the game, the Four Nation game before I went. So I came, and then because I trained with the Blasters, they are very friendly. Because I trained with them, I was cool with them. Okay. So I went to the dressing room like after the game to go and just greet the coaches. Heavy René was the assistant coach. He was
the physical trainer.
Was the assistant coach. I went to greet them, and I met Heavy René. He said, "Hey, Dauda, how are you?" Okay. You go back to your club, try to train. Just keep training. It's possible you make the 23 the provisional squad. Okay. Yeah. I was like, this man, why is he talking about me? Second goalkeeper for Meteors. No. I never believed what he said. So I went back to Ashgood. I went to Duncan to greet him. And Duncan said, they heard whatever happened in camp. But I shouldn't worry. I should just put effort here. I will make the squad. So about a month's time, we were going to Tamale. We're in the bus around 5:30 a.m. And then I had a call from Udi Asempa. He called me. He used to live in Madina, so he knows me. He called me. Matisse Edimi Bebao. That's what he told me. And they are about to do sports in a 30 minutes time. Yeah. So in our bus too, the driver put on the radio. And then the news came that there are some lists. You know how they do this sports.
How we get the concert stories.
They started it. And then Robert has listed some 55 players as a provisionally for the AFCON 2008. They said the name. They mentioned Olele. They mentioned Sameje. They mentioned the goalkeeper side. Yeah. They mentioned Isaac Bakun. Lord Kote. Yeah. Lord Kote was on form that time playing for House of Folk. And then they mentioned me. Come and sing the bass. So
you have arrived.
Yes, I feel like, so this thing is true. So from there I say, these white people, they don't lie. They say their thing as it is. Yeah. So I feel like, so we went to Tamale. We came back. I was tired, so I was sleeping in my room, and then Mr. Fiano was calling me. When I'm sleeping all the time, I put my phone on silence.
Oh, okay.
He called me several times. I was not because I was sleeping, and then our team driver, we share a hall. So he came to knock my window. And I wake up, so Mr. Fiano was calling me, so I should check my phone. So I picked my phone, I saw his missed call, I called him back. He told me that they need my passport in the FA. And that time my passport is with me in Obuasi. Yeah. So I need to send one boy, he's called Evans, 1 man supporter for Ashgood. It's one young guy. I need to say, he's a clever boy. So I give him direction to the FA from Obuasi. I give him transport to bring the passport.
So he brought the passport?
Yes, he brought the passport to Mr. Ales, and then I was there, and then Alex called me that, we'll meet in Osu to do some small get-together before we go to Dubai for camping.
Oh, okay.
So I came, and then I went to the get-together. So the local boys, we were about 7 or 5. So, but when I went there, I only saw Daniel Opare, Kuja Samoa, and myself. But we were 5 local players they mentioned. I was like, maybe they will come there later. We went to Dubai. I didn't see any local player who were there. And the AFCON, I didn't know how, like the keepers they sent to AFCON. I mean, they sent only like 3 keepers. So Sameje was there, Richard Kisti was there, I was there. So I was thinking like the other goalkeepers would join me. First day, second day, third day, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, no other goalkeeper. I was like, hey, Chalana, I don't know, Ebemo, Chale, hey. And then like he would come and say, hey, local player, I was like, no, I wasn't feeling.
Yeah.
Until they came to our room to start asking of our JC number. Okay, you are going to wear number 60. I was like, really? Is this in real? Until we came to Ghana, we went to Kaba, so that no, I've made it to the squad.
I can see.
Yeah, so that's how I joined the just training.
I see.
That was my breakthrough in the national team. But do you know what? After the AFCON, I went out to the national team for almost like 5 years.
Yeah.
But I was not giving up. Like now, somebody will go to
you
the
went out.
team.
In fact, the 2010 World Cup, you didn't even get a look in.
At all, no. But then...
How disappointing was that? Were you very disappointed?
No, not really. I was in Ashgood. feeling comfortable. I feel like, no, I've been there before. A lot of goalkeepers in the system I've made it to come to. No, I need to thank Allah for that. There's one time, 2009. Is it 288? No, 28. No, 209.
Is it a champ tournament?
No. Black Stars were going to play match in South Africa. They played a qualifier in Takoradi. They need to play some another. That match wasn't an international base, so some of the players need to go back to their clubs.
Okay.
So they need to bring in
some players.
So then Herbert was about to take Ashgo, so he brought in some physical trainer. We were doing pre-season.
Oh, okay.
And Idiasa.
That was around the time Herbert Mensah was going to take.
Yes.
Okay.
And I had a call that I need to come to Accra. We are going to South Africa, so I need to drive around 3 a.m. because I need to get to Accra and train at work with the team, and then you get there. That night we are traveling. I need to drive around 3 a.m. from Obasi to Accra. I get there. I was tired. I went to training at I came to this hotel, Oak Plaza.
Yeah.
And I just got there and they said, oh, they're going to training. So I need to go to train and train with them. I was tired because I wanted to travel. And then they got a visa and they traveled to South Africa. I played that game. I went to Osebati, but I played that game. We lost 2-1. So when I came back, I was thinking like, oh, I've arrived in the team again. Out. I was out till 2012 November when we played FA Cup final with Edibiasi at Accra Sports Stadium. Edibiasi won that game.
Yeah, I remember.
But then the league was finished. So
the season was over.
So I was training and we played a game. So Kusapia was the coach by then, 2012.
Yeah.
So Yawa Champo was our coach in Ashgood.
Okay.
So he called me and said, Coach Kusapia has called him that they want to invite me, but he has said that the league is over. But he has told him that we just finished playing FA Cup, and he at Coach Champo has given me a program.
Yeah.
When I come home, I should follow before the next season. So coach will call me. So we just play. So I was there. In an hour time, Coach Kusapia called me. Fatao, how are you? I want to invite you to the national team, so they will call you. Okay, I was like, wow. Okay, and then I was there, and then Alessa Sante called me that we will travel to, we will come to camp and play a qualifier for the 2013 AFCON. That qualifier was only one game.
Yeah,
home and away. Yeah. We played, and then we played against
because the AFCON was
Malawi.
It was supposed to be 2014,
yes.
2012, 2014, but they had to switch it.
Yes.
They had to switch it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
to make it odd year.
We played Malawi here. I was on the beach. We beat them. 2-0. The following week we went to Malawi. We beat them 1-0. We qualified to the AFCON. I wasn't stable because I reflected what happened some years back.
Yeah.
So I was still working hard. And there was a friendly match before the AFCON camp against Portugal. Against Cape Verde in Portugal.
Cape Verde, yes. Wakaso scored in that game.
Thank you. Wakaso scored that game. That's the breakthrough of Wakaso.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
I went to the game.
I remember that he was at Espanyol.
Yes. Espanyol.
Yeah.
Is it Espanyol? Yes.
Yeah, he was with Espanyol.
Yeah, they were blue and white.
Yeah,
Espanyol.
Yeah.
Yes, Espanyol. So they invited me. They invited Wakaso, Daniel J, Gerard Kamenko. I was in the room with Gerard Kamenko.
Oh, okay.
And then we went to match pre-talk, and then I was start. Daniel J is supposed to start a game.
Oh, okay.
And then they asked Nasamu. Actually, let me say I was ahead of Daniel J because he's coming from the 20 now. So Nasamu suggested Coach Apia discussed with Nasana to who should start, and he said Nasamu said I should start because I'm ahead of. So the second half Daniel will do what? Will come. And then and coach and agree with Nassam. You know, that's how coach and the goalkeeper coach, that's how they do.
Yeah, they work.
You want someone to play, you discuss. But the only person who can take final decisions is the head coach. But this one, coach agree with and Nassam. So I started the heat in the game. That's my first time playing outside the continent.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we played a game in Portugal. We were playing and we had a chance. Newcastle scored. And these people were on us, pressure. It can do long through. I'll come out and fix it. So second half, Nassam went to coach. Coach said, no. Let's Fatah play because the intensity of the game is high. So I completed the game and then we won 1-0. So the following 2 weeks, we are going to camp. So imagine there's no way you can take me
out.
There's no way you can take. There's one thing Jerry Kameko did, I will never forget. I was in the room with him. He's a Christian, I'm a Muslim.
Yeah.
I was praying, he was praying. I said, Jerry, we opportunity pound. I said, Lion, you're best. That's what Jerry Kameko told me. We went. So I took that in, what the guy said. We should go and do our best and leave the rest to God. Because if it should be some normal way, you will panic. Because you want to do well and then go to AFCON.
Yeah.
So you just go and do your best and we went there and we had a good game. We won and then the list came out. I was in, Jerry was in, Wakaso was in, Kujal Samo was in, Kisi, he played for Liberty and then Chelsea.
I forgot his.
Kisi.
In fact, he even went to play for Brekum Chelsea as well.
And then Mazembe and then Solomon Santi.
Yeah.
We made the list. Spot. And then we went to AFCON.
Kisi Boateng.
So going to the AFCON, imagine, by then Kwarase was number one.
Yeah.
He was number one. You know me, I have that attitude. If I don't play, I'm happy. So when I was going to the AFCON, because I've been there, can do it before.
Yeah.
When I was going to the AFCON, that 2013, I told myself that if I go, they give me the chance, I'll do what? I will play. So I went there with this mindset. I was ready. So in football, or in goalkeeper especially, if you are not ready, forget. So we started playing, training, went to Dubai, train, went to South Africa. In Dubai, we played some games, friendly games. We played, they gave me a chance to play some. We won against Egypt and Tunisia. By then, I know I'm not going to start. But because I was ready, I was always ready that if they give me the chance, I will play. So I have that mindset. We went to South Africa, the first game, we went to pre-match meeting. All this time, the head coach or the person never came to me to tell me that we are going to play. No. The day they were doing the pre-match against Congo, the first game, when then they projected the list for Tao that we are starting. In a big game like this, big football competition on the continent, as a local player playing against Congo. Do you know why I didn't panic?
After sports, well, we're pleased to bring you my blunt thoughts for today, Ghana 4. My name is Benjamin Akakpo, and you know how I do it. The title for today's blunt thoughts, and stay with me, stay with me. I want you to follow this critically and share widely, because these are issues all of us need to talk about. Ghana's Chinese albatross, a flailing assault on corruption, and more fleeing health workers. The true picture. Ghana's Chinese albatross, a flailing assault on corruption, and more fleeing health workers. The true picture. Let me premise I don't want to say diatribe, but let me premise what I'm going to say this morning on this. If we think as a people, this morning I was calling for the Aglo people from way back and how ferociously they held those in leadership to account. I'm calling on them to do so today, and not just today, with every other party that comes. If we somehow think that we can pray our way to development, wallahi, we are the worst jokers alive. If we think we can pray and that prayers alone will lead to development without the hard work, without holding our leaders accountable, without putting on our thinking caps, without taking off our tainted and tinted political lenses, we are jokers. I'm saying that for a fact. Now, just note, before I go to the board, Norway has a sovereign fund from its oil that has been putting together since the 90s, thereabouts. Do you know how much is in that kitty? $1.4 trillion. Even in recent times, in recent days, there was a bit of a slump, but $1.4 trillion. Can you imagine that? We have a projection that, God willing, in 2057, by the time Ghana is 100 years old, if we make it there, if it is not just left with G and the Hana gone, and if we still have Ghana intact, by 2057, we would have a nominal GDP, and mind you, this is nominal GDP, so put it in the proper context, of $3.4 trillion. But as of today, in some countries' sovereign fund, for future generations, they have $1.4 trillion in that kitty lying there, kule. How do we compete with them? How will our children and our grandchildren in 2057 compete with the likes of those children from Norway? That is how we ought to think. We are so far behind, it is not even funny. And yet when you say anything, oh, it is political. Oh, it is this. Well, we day inside. But today, like I said, I'm going to be reflecting on three crucial areas. Our Chinese albatross, so to speak. No offense to the Chinese. I'm talking about our debt overhang. We'll look at the work of the special prosecutor and whether we're actually benefiting in any way. And we'll also contemplate our health workers who are jackpying every day. Yesterday, I spoke to someone a nurse, male nurse. He wants to go to Canada. But let's get to the slides now. If you look at Ghana's indebtedness, you look at those countries in Africa heavily indebted to China. The country that ranks tops is Ghana. Niger with 2.7 billion, 3.1 billion to Senegal, Chad 3.2 billion, Zambia 4.6, Sudan 7.9, 11.4 billion, Mozambique, Democratic Republic of the Congo 12.1, Tanzania 12.6, Ethiopia 14.8, Guinea 21.9, Ghana 31.1. Almost a combination of this and that. You would get what? About 20, 34, 35. That's about 36.7 billion. Okay, almost those figures put together. But to be fair, this 31.1 billion you're seeing here is not currently what we owe them. It is what we have accrued in debt over time to the Chinese since 2004. 31.1 billion. We've paid some of our debt, the recent one. So now, as of now, we owe them about $1.9 billion. That's our debt exposure to the Chinese. That's the picture. We are tops in Africa. But even while we are tops, if we had done so much with it, we wouldn't complain, right? The question is, having borrowed 31.1 billion from the Chinese, what do we have to show? Yeah, they are bobra, and I say I'm far mobra. And no, any asemano. Let's go to the next slide. Now, staying on this right before I get to the OSP bit, because the bit about corruption also feeds into how we bleed as a country. We've been told by the finance minister himself we lose anything from 4 billion to about 6 billion every year. And I'm talking in dollars, not cedis. Then, in terms of our external debt restructuring, you hear the likes of Dr. Theo Echampong saying, China will always negotiate hard. Ghana must accept it. Yeah. They can choose to bite you whichever way they like because you've been irresponsible. You've borrowed without, any guards, any safeguards. You've borrowed wantonly. And when you do that, you expend it wantonly. And then before you realize, it's time for payback. And you're on the ropes. I don't want to get into Chinese and pumping money into certain economies, knowing very well that sometimes these people cannot pay. That's a totally different discussion. But it's up to us. And like Dr. Theo Echampong has said, let's go back to the next slide, please, before I move to this one. Like Dr. Theo Echampong has said, China will always negotiate hard. They'll negotiate in their interest. You will try and negotiate in your interest, but do beggars have a choice? If wishes were horses, like the saying goes, beggars would ride. And if beggars don't ride, it's because they don't have that choice. So that's on our economy and our exposure to the Chinese, even as we contemplate the second tranche of money from the IMF and our external debt. Now let's go on to the OSP. The branding, how the OSP and my friend Kisie Jabeng brands himself and his entity is this. The OSP is the gold standard and flagship specialized independent anti-corruption state agency in Ghana. Or are they? Let's go to the next slide. Now, if you look at some of the assessments that have been given before I even talk about the real work of the OSP. The Speaker's comments on the OSP's ineffectiveness in recent times. As for the law you passed on the establishment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, I did tell you that it was an act in futility. You were not going to achieve anything, but you went ahead and passed it. I'll ask you, what do you think? Have we achieved our goals? There are different views on this. Let's go to the next slide. And we'll be getting some of those different perspectives. But for the OSP himself, the special prosecutor, not the OSP, the special prosecutor and what he's been saying. He says the courts are exhibiting disregard for the office's powers and that the office operates without an establishment or established budget. I know the budget has risen over time, yes, but is there some sanity to it, establishment to it? That's the question. And when do you even get funds to do the work? If you're getting funds midway through the year or far along the year, how do you execute your plan? Next slide. You look at the appointment dates for our two special prosecutors. January 2018 for Martin Amidu, August 2021 after he had resigned for Kisei Jabing. Exit date November 2020. Kisei Jabing is still soldiering on. But let's find out more from the tail of the tape. Let's get into our next slide now. In terms of assessing the performance of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, let's look at Ghana's performance when it comes to the CPI, Corruption Perception Index. In 2012, we scored 45. Same in 2013, thereabouts. 2014, 46. So I think in 2012 it was a bit lower, this figure. But 2013, 45. 2014, our highest, 46. Then there's also another figure of 47 at a point. And then in 2016, it dwindles to 43. Then 2017, we hit rock bottom, at least as far as this scale is concerned, 40. But within this period that we've had, when you see the lines, the broken lines, we've had the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Mind you, this is January 2018. 41, 41, 43, 43, 43. That's the latest in 2022, which is still less than all the others we've scored up to 2015, and only matching what we saw in 2016. So you then ask yourself, with this office and with the millions we have spent, hundreds of millions in fact, where are the results? Next slide. Then you look at the annual allocations to the OSP, and this is where it gets a bit interesting because yes, no, they don't get their funds on time and all of that, but look at how much we're expending in there. Is it worth it? If we pushed this into maybe health or something, would it be better used? Because when you're looking at anything, especially expenditure, you're looking at quality, time, value, and all of that. But you're also looking at how effective and efficient your resources are being used, if you're thinking like an economist. Now, in 2018, we expended 3.79 billion, a million, I beg your pardon, 3.79 million. In 2019, it shot up by about 60 times, 180.16 million. Then it fell a bit to 138.15 in 2020, 124.1 in 2021, that figure in 2022, this 129 in 2023, and in 2024, we have a projection of 149 million. Add all of these, 100, 100, 100, that's 300, 400, 500. You add all of those, you are looking at upwards of 600, 700. This is about 800. You spent over 800 million Ghana cedis, so to speak, on this office, almost $1 billion Ghana cedis. I ask you, what do we have to show? Are we satisfied with what is being done? But let's get down to it further and note what has been done and what has not, and whether we are happy. Let's go to the next slide. Before we get there, some of the perspectives on this, you would have Inusa Fuseni say it would not be in the interest of any party to scrap the OSP despite no successful prosecutions. Kofi Bento says the OSP will be effective over time, only God knows when exactly. And I'm not saying Kisei Jabing himself is not doing well. I'm saying the office and everything else that is happening is hobbling whatever work he may want to do. And Martin Amidu, the current OSP, has no respect for the Constitution. Let's go to the next slide. But then in the next two slides, I want us to assess what has been done, and whether we can tout anything or boast of anything because we have an OSP. Look at the ambulance case involving Mahama Yariga and 6 others. Number of months, quite a number of them. Defendants acquitted and discharged. Nothing to show. Mahama Yariga's tax evasion issue, 52 months. Entry of nolle prosequi quashed the prosecution. It ended there. Bank of Ghana banking sector cleanup, ongoing investigation. Cecilia Dapa, 5 months and counting. Docket to be assigned to a new judge. Charles Edubuahin, 12 months. Concluded and all persons acquitted. Customs Division of the GRA, I'm talking about the LaBianca case, 15 months, OSP rejected the court's decision. Let's go to the next slide. There's more there. Illegal mining, including Akonta mining. Akonta mining. Yeah. Chairman Woon to me. Ongoing investigation. Sir John's estate on appeal. Vote buying. 1 month, 6 persons wanted, and we brought you details of that. Session Dumasi and other places. Alex Safo Kantanka, awaiting court's decision in January 2024. We got some scoop on that recently. Ajanim Boating Ajay, case ongoing in court. Sumaila Abdulrahman and 3 others. Case adjourned to February 2024 for mention. Look at all of this. So then, with the close to 1 billion we've expended, Yakoye, Anayabai, what are the gains? What can we show? That's the question. If I came to work and I did not do anything, I had nothing to show at the end of the day, do you think I would be here? But with that same mindset, why can't we approach our national life in that way, governance in that way? With all the resources being expended, what can we beat our chests and show for? Unless we start thinking like that, we're not going anywhere as a country. Now let's go into the last subject. Ghana, exodus of health workers. We've spoken about medical doctors. We've spoken about nurses especially, who have been leaving in droves. Last year, first quarter, 3,000 left. The trend has continued. The Ghana Health Service has waded into it. So many entities. We're losing them by the droves. Some say, oh, there will always be nurses. Hospital, I want your nurse, But anesthetists, crucial, especially when surgery is being conducted. No one wants to talk about them. Over 30% of anesthetists have left Ghana in 2023. 30%, 3 out of 10. Gone. Look at them. Let me give you the breakdown. You look at some of the numbers. Please, let's go to the next slide. Now, the usual, factors. Why are they going? Same factors, no solution. Lack of career progression. Poor conditions of service. Wrongful placement on the single spine salary scale, and a lack of a scheme of service. And we expect them to stay because of patriotism. Yeah, well, they have to eat, right? I'm not saying we shouldn't be patriotic, but we have basic needs. And every human being will go for those first. And in our last slide, you would notice, looking at the numbers, scary? You tell me. There are about 1,200 certified, registered anesthetists, according to the CRA in Ghana, the Ghana Association of Certified Registered Anesthetists. Now, this translates to a ratio of 26,650 Ghanaians to 1 CRA, or Certified Registered Anesthetist. You have about 1,200 of them certified. 30% gone. That is about 1/3 of this number. We are talking about 400 of them gone. You're left with about 800. Ghana, I started and I said this. If we keep thinking that praying alone will help us develop, we are jokers. Because even God will not come from heaven and do for you what you can do for yourself. But he will give you the thinking and the strength to do it. Without that, I'm sorry, but you're a fool. And that is why I'm going to end on this note by saying, successful societies don't only pray for their leaders to succeed, they hold them accountable as well. Successful societies don't only pray, hey, raditio, hey, raditio. After doing that, they hold their leaders to account. That is how they succeed. My name is Benjamin Akapo. I know a lot of what I say, some people don't like, But stop saying it, I will not, because I have a conscience. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you this morning. Raw, hot, unedited, undiluted. God bless our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong. Welcome back on the AM show. Yes, we're going to have a conversation on public health and everything we should be doing during this season. But before we go there, let's head to the Western region, Takrady to be specific. The former president, John Dramani Mahama, has been on tour, Western North and other places. Now he finds himself in the Western North, in the Western region. We're going to be engaging our very own colleague, Nanayao Jima, on what the latest is. Nanayao, if you can hear me, good morning. And what is the latest you can report? Maybe we can even start with what you've gathered so far from the campaign or the tour of the former president and tell us what he's up to today.
Benjamin, we are still on the Building Ghana tour, which started on Wednesday. So Wednesday and Thursday, the former president, John Dramani Mahama, spent time within the Western North region. On Wednesday, he made the entry into the Western North region, transiting from Kumasi Airport. From Kumasi Airport, he moved straight to Rioso, where the first group he met was an NDC executives of the Western North region. Meeting them, he told them that he would need them to unite for election 2024, because if the NDC can win election 2024 beyond the campaign that will go on within the regions, he would need the fronts of the NDC to be united so that they will be able to gather most votes to make him the president in 2024 or stage a comeback. He continued to preach the message of the 24-hour economy. According to him, he will need the supporters of the NDC to also help in preaching this message. In the Western North region, there is a lot of people who are now printing shirts of the 24-hour economy, and these are the shirts they continue to wear on the campaign, and it continues to be a major part of the message that the former president is taking around the various areas that we've been visiting so far. And also, he hit back again at the critics of the 24-hour economy. According to him, he's aware that some institutions are already rolling out 24-hour service, but there is need for a deliberate effort or deliberate measures to be put in place to ensure that it becomes flexible for a number of institutions within the country to run a 24-hour economy, which he believes is a game changer to the unemployment situation within the country. From that meeting with Western North region executives of the NDC, he moved to the Rioso Traditional Council. He met the traditional authority within Rioso, that is Katechie Kwesi Bumangama, and in the meeting, Katechie Kwesi Bumangama made some request to the former president or the flag bearer of the NDC. According to Katechie Bumangama, the Western North region has now been carved out of the Western region, and he is requesting that the former president John Dramani Mahama to also have a plan for the Western North region, that is to improve the status of the Western North region if he receives the nod as president of the Republic of Ghana. And also, he would want the former president or the flag bearer of the NDC to ensure that chiefs get some power so that they can also help in development. He also called on him to institute some measures that will help chiefs team up with government authorities to protect the forest cover of the country, because we know what illegal mining and logging is doing to the various forest cover in this country. In response, the former president John Dramani Mahama assured that when he is elected as president, he will ensure that there is legislation that will help traditional authority collaborate with the Forestry Commission to protect the forest cover that we have in this country. He's also alarmed about or concerned about the forest that is being lost in the country. He also answered the question on improving the status of the Western North region, according to the former president, under under his boss. That is how he described him, the John Evans Atta Mills. The NDC made a policy that every region in the country gets a referral center in terms of health facility, and also a stadium and other facilities that will ensure that the status of these regions are improved. And these are issues that he will look at again when he is elected as president. He says that all 6 newly established regions will get the necessary facilities that will improve the status and also the livelihood of people in these regions. Again, there was an appeal from the traditional authority to make Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa the vice or the running mate for the NDC in the next election. This has also been raised by other traditional authority in the phase 1 of the tour. Mr. Mahama again responded to that, and what he is saying is that it is not his will, but the whole of the party, that's the leadership of the party, will have to meet according to the party constitution, meet and together form consensus or build consensus on who they believe should be elected or selected as the running mate for the 2024 election. So he says that, or he wants the chiefs to continue to pray for their preferred choice, so that when they sit as executives of the party and also the flag bearer of the party, they can build consensus and select a person who will be credible enough to run with him for the election. Also, there have been a series of town hall meetings here in the Western North region, in where also he met the people there, and they raised some concerns or challenges that they believe when he should be elected as president in 2025, he should ensure that these are rolled out to help ease the economic pressure on the people. One thing that came up strongly is a housing scheme for teachers. According to the former president, John Dramani Mahama, already teacher associations like the NAGAT and NAT have some housing policies or schemes for their people. When he is elected, or when he is able to stage a comeback, his government will ensure that these policies, or they invest in these policies to ensure that teachers or all teachers across the country get to benefit from the housing schemes that is already being rolled out by these teacher associations. In the Western North region, one important thing to the people is cocoa farming. The former president also spoke about cocoa farming, and what he is saying is that he has plans in place to ensure that he revive the ailing sector. What he said is that when he is elected, he will ensure that a factory is built within that area to process the cocoa beans and ensure that the income that the country gains from the cocoa sector, the cocoa sector is improved, or the country makes the most out of the cocoa that is grown within the Western North region. So these are some of the areas that the former president touched on in the area.
All right. Nanaya, 2 quick things before you take leave of us. One, what has been the reception in all these places as the former president has gone round? How have the people received him? And 2, I know that he's continued responding to the critics of the 24-hour economy. What can you say on these 2 bits before we cap off the conversation?
Talking about the reception, it's been good so far from the Bono region. That is the face-to-face of the campaign tour or the Building Ghana tour. The people have met him with excitement, and they keep chanting Savior to imply that they believe that he holds the key to turning the economic fortunes of the country. So it looks like the people that so far, or the places we've visited so far, the people are enthused about the attempt to stage a comeback. And from the little information or the vox that we've been running in these areas, the people believe that they are ready for a second coming of the John Dramani Mahama administration. So they are willing to vote him back into power. on the 24-hour economy, interestingly, in all the town hall meetings, even before the former president mentions it, you get the sense that the people have already received the message and they are anticipating the implementation of such policy, because they believe that when it is implemented, a lot of people will get jobs. John Dramani Mahama continued to be resolute with this message, and what he keeps preaching is that the NDC has other policies that are very, very crucial in reviving the ailing economy of the country. And what he says about the 24-hour economy is that his critics will continue to, question the policy and also throw dust into the eyes of people. But what he is saying is that in January, or when the manifesto of the NDC is drawn, it will come out with the full or complete policy for the people to get a better understanding of the 24-hour economy. But so far what he is saying is that the 24-hour economy will come with incentives for industries or institutions that decide to engage in it. Security and other issues are also being considered as the NDC draws the policy on the 24-hour economy.
Very in-depth report that you've given on this. We'll stay in touch with you and find out what more you can report later in the day. Nanaya Ojima is my colleague with Love 99.5 FM. Coming back into the studio, we're going to continue in just a bit with an all-important conversation. As you prepare for the Yuletide, as you prepare for Christmas, how about your safety? If you contract food poisoning, for example, it could take your life. What are the safety measures we can put in place? And what is the Accra Metropolitan Assembly doing in that respect to ensure that all of us can be secure, safe, and enter 2024 in peace? That conversation will be right up next on the AM Show. Here we are back again, and on that issue I just spoke about, here's the Christmas, but where's your safety? Well, to share more on that, we have the AMA's Director of Public Health, Florence Kuchi, joining me in the studio. Florence, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming.
Sure, thank you.
It's always good to have you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So let's delve into the matter from your assembly. I always like to find out what the latest is. What is the latest in terms of the work you do, and logistically, are things getting any better?
Thank you for this. Logistically, let me say, not yet.
Not yet.
Yes. Not yet. Yes, we've been talking a lot about these things here. It's almost 2 years now. We are yet to. But AMA in person has put on a lot of measures when it comes to food safety and hygiene, because one cannot talk about food safety without talking about food hygiene. They work hand in hand. Yes. So during this festive period, AMA and the Metro Public Health Department, for that matter, have put in place some key measures to ensure that people who are shopping for their festive period will have safe and then non-contaminated food to enjoy, so that after the festive period, they will still be healthy and come back. What are we doing? We are ensuring that we check for expiring product, that is labeling of food products. This is the season a lot of traders always churn out expired food product into the system, and they intend to say they are doing dongomi. They reduce the prices, people go to buy some of these products, and then at the end of the day, they suffer from buying this product or from consuming this product. So we are in the market, we are inspecting all shops, we are ensuring that people do not churn out expired product or best before product. Okay. The best before is even a little bit better than the expired product.
I just noted it down to get to it. So give us the breakdown.
Yes. So the best before product, it means after the date, you can consume it, but it is at your own risk.
And it's not as good.
It is not as good as it's supposed to be, or the original should have been. And the expired.
Just to hold it there. For example, if it's biscuits, sometimes you see best before.
Yes.
So it's less crunchy.
It's less crunchy.
It breaks quickly.
And then the taste also change.
Yeah.
Yes. So you take that at your own risk. But the expired, it means it is no more wholesome.
Yeah.
You cannot consume it. So we are ensuring that we check on all these things. Just from first to now, we are almost having a store full of some of these products that we have seized. Then we will be disposing them off after the festive period.
Why not now? I mean, that gives room for some slippages. You never know. This is Ghana, and someone could. Is it not possible for someone to take some and sell it, someone even within the system? Because in the same country, we've seen cocaine and stuff turn into coconte, so you can't be too sure.
Yes, but under my watch and under the officers that I am working with, we are sure of ourselves and we have the trust. Nobody will do it because we are protecting the public. Our key mandate is to protect the public and not to enrich ourselves. And during this period, there are a lot of things that are still going on. You can't go for it today, go and destroy it. Tomorrow you go for it. It is going to be cumbersome. So it's better to add up everything than at the end of the day, you have a data on it before it is being destroyed. So these are some of the things that we are putting in place. And we are also checking food production entities, for instance, chop bars, restaurants, and others, to also educate them on how to select healthy food products during this festive period, how to ensure that handling the food that they are going to prepare for people during this festive period is safe and hygienic. They need to put the environment clean. They need to ensure that personal hygiene is being put in place, check their pest control system, the equipment that they are going to use and the facilities should be clean, as well as the environment.
So quite a lot that you'll be doing in there. As you spoke, you reminded me of this. Yesterday we had a representative from the Christian Relief Services and the FDA here. One of what they are dealing with is, for example, because a lot of our children don't get the minerals, vitamins and stuff they need from our food because our staples tend to be one way, if you like. So if these are not getting those supplements from somewhere, it can even lead to cretinism, stunted growth, poor brain development, affecting their IQ. There's nothing you can do about a malformed or improperly developed brain. So take vitamin A deficiency, for example. It's crucial to children, brain development, eyesight, and all of that. There are vegetable oils, among others, that have to be enriched per Ghana's laws with vitamin A. The FDA is finding out that a lot of the time, this is not the case. So you have it on the labeling, but it's not the case, or it is far below what has to be done. Are you going to be collaborating with such entities to ensure that, again, people are consuming the right things, not just it's expired, it's not expired, but getting the quality they deserve?
Yes, collaboration is one of our key mandate that we do at the MMDA's level. Food and Drug Authority is one of our main collaborators because when you talk about food safety, they brings in the standards. But when you talk about food hygiene, we also ensure the hygiene aspect. So you cannot do food safety without a hygiene aspect. Neither can you do food hygiene without food safety. So Food and Drug Authority is our main collaborator when it comes to food safety and hygiene. We move to market areas to ensure that people who are even bringing in adulterated palm nuts are being confiscated and taken out of the market. Actions are being taken, people are being taken to court. So we are with Food and Drug Authority throughout. Yes, because we are their eyes at the MMDA's level.
Okay.
Yes.
Beyond that, the GSA, others, do you collaborate with them too?
Yes, collaboration. We have almost, let me say, all the interministerial agencies in the country, we all collaborate. There's always an aspect when it's time for this, you collaborate with this entity. When it's time for this, you collaborate with this entity. EPA, we collaborate with them. We collaborate with Ministry of Health. We collaborate with tourism. We collaborate with almost all the ministry and agencies and departments in the country. So collaboration is one of the main work that we do. And when you even come to our annual action plans, we have plans for collaborators that we work with them and come out with results. We do training. Some also organize training for us as well, as and when the need arises.
I see. Which means that with the security services, you also work hand in glove
Yes,
with them.
yes,
The Ghana
we
Police
do.
Service.
The
When
Ghana-
you go out there,
Sure.
people are not doing the right thing. You clamp down on them immediately,
Sure.
not just with your task force,
Yes,
but with the
please.
police service.
Sometimes we even request for the police service to even go out with us, especially when we are going to hard to reach areas that people are so difficult that we cannot go there alone. We mostly fall on the Ghana Police Service, and they are always ready to work with us. As for the collaboration, agencies are always ready to collaborate, and I think it's a very good thing that we are doing in Ghana. Yes.
So in terms of sanitation as well, we've had the Clean Ghana campaign. It's been doing so well. You've even extended it to other regions and all of that. How is that faring, and what can we expect during the season?
Clean Ghana campaign has come to help not only Greater Accra, not only Accra Metropolitan Assembly, but the whole country. And Clean Ghana campaign has brought a lot of changes in people's homes, in people's working areas, and even people's personality. We did an assessment throughout the country. We just didn't do it only in Accra. And we realized that about 84% of the people we reach out said they have seen a lot of changes in the way they do things. For instance, sometimes when they are even going to purchase food products, they don't care about where the food is being sold or who is preparing the food. But due to Joy Clean Ghana campaign, they have come to realize that they need to check all these things. They are very important. Yes, some facilities are there that through Joy Clean Ghana campaign, they were closed down and actions were taken. Those people have come back, they have revamped, and now their business is even booming than it used to be. And all of them come back with their feedback to tell us that, yes, at first they thought we were enemies, but little did they know that we're really trying to ensure that they do the right thing. So Join Clean Ghana campaign has come to stay. We did the last one on 6th of this month. That was our last Joy Clean Ghana campaign in the year. And then next year, we are going to continue. We are hoping that next year we'll broaden the horizon. It is not going to be only English, but we may add up some other local languages that people are yearning to hear, because during the assessment, it was one of the things that also came out, that they will want us not to only do it in English, but in other languages that they can also hear, because it is not just for only the elite, it is for everybody. Yeah.
So in terms of, there's a specific thing I'll get to shortly, but in terms of not just the campaign, in terms of going round, doing your rounds, people who cook, chop bars, restaurants, other eateries during this period, what are the checks going to be like? For example, I know that, and from time to time you will see this, indeed, even in other parts of the world and in some of the most established restaurants, once in a while you may see some vermin, maybe a mouse or something. But in some of these places, it's pretty commonplace. Cockroaches. Sometimes you go somewhere, you're buying something, and there's a cockroach also dancing agbaja in the background. Cockroaches, mice, and all other kinds of vermin. How are you going to address this situation? Because during this time, people will go out there, eat, drink. How do we protect them?
Yeah, thank you. When you talk of food hygiene, pest control is a measure in food hygiene. And we don't just take it lightly. We see to it that every food production industry or food preparing base should ensure that every 3 months they do disinfection and disinfestation. When we talk of disinfection, we are talking about microorganisms that we cannot see with our naked eye. They need to disinfect, which people use to say fumigation. Then you have to disinfect the place. That is pesticides. You use pesticides to disinfect the place so that you kill rodents, cockroaches, and others. Because we know that cockroaches are one of the causative organisms, even for typhoid fever. Yeah. Because where they live in the sewers and other places. Yeah. And in the night, they find their ways into our kitchen.
The mice as well.
The mice as well.
And their urine can even be toxic.
That is it. So that is why sanitation and hygiene is very key when it comes to areas that we prepare food, the restaurants, the chop bars, and all other places. So education is ongoing. We are moving from facility to facility, educating them. And then even last week, we had a training for a set of food vendors on how to handle their food products during this festive period so that people will not have any infections or experience any foodborne diseases. We are training them on not how to select the food, as I mentioned earlier on, how to separate raw food from cooked food. Sometimes you may have healthy food product, but if the handling is not done properly, at the end of the day, you get the food contaminated. So we are taking them through all these things.
I'll say this from experience. If you're going to be taking any nkatenkwan, groundnut soup, ensure it's been properly cooked and all of that. Yeah. Was it about 1.5 years, 2 years ago? Someone nearly killed me, literally. Because I could tell because it was the only meal I had that day. And the reaction was almost immediate. Once I have a very sensitive system. Once I took the food, I realized that something was off with it. And what it did to me was just crazy. So especially if you're going to be taking that, ensure the food is properly cooked. And another thing I found out, Florence, some of these eateries, because of the cost of gas nowadays, so they are cooking the food, but they want it to be done very quickly, and they may not cook it to a certain point because gas is expensive, and not knowing that they are
yes,
causing health hazards.
So that is why the education is also a problem that is a key when it comes to food safety and hygiene. According to a report by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and the World Bank Organization, they said 1 person in each 40 persons experience foodborne disease, some form of foodborne disease. And annually in Ghana, about 420,000 people report to the hospital through foodborne disease.
Wow.
Yes. And out of the 420,000 people that report, about 62,000 people die through some form of foodborne disease a year in Ghana.
In Ghana alone?
In Ghana alone, yes.
62,000?
Yes, in Ghana.
Foodborne disease.
According to the report by Ministry of Food and Agriculture and then the World Bank.
That means E. coli and the rest.
And the rest. And then when you come to economical loss that the government incur through these things, it's about $6 million plus that people, the government incur through foodborne illnesses. So it's really a very key thing that we need to be talking about. Because we don't see some of these things, it is not everybody that report, we think that it is not there. It is there, and it is killing people. So if every day 1 person out of 40 a day, you can imagine what is happening.
So I just did some interesting mathematics.
Yes.
I like to play with figures.
Yeah.
We are spending over $6 million.
Yes. Yes.
And we are losing about 62,000 people.
Yes.
In terms of the money we spend in dealing with their situation.
Yes.
Guess what? If you divide 6 million by 62,000, you get $96.77.
Yes.
That is $97, which means that because we don't take care of matters, we spend about $100
yes.
on every person who gets food poisoning,
yes.
who has to get treatment.
Yes.
And that is the cost.
And that is the cost
to our economy.
To our economy. So food safety and hygiene is really a very key issue that we need to take it seriously. Yes.
Now, what happens to those who, and I want you to make it very clear, those who fall foul of the law in terms of the sanitation and all of that, not cooking in the right places. Some are even cooking without the right permits.
Yes.
They are not registered and all of that. During the season, what if you find such people, what happens to them?
In fact, during season, we have tightening the link with the legal centers, that is our court system. Gone were the days when we get you, we take you through a lot of processes. Now, when we arrest you, we are sending you to court the following day. That is, if court is not sitting as at the time we get you. And if you are not going to go to court, we also have what we call the cost of abatement. We make you to pay a spot fine, then you sign an undertaking. We give
a bond?
Yes, please. We give you a copy, then we keep a copy. Tomorrow when we come for you again and then we find that you have been here to sign an undertaking and you have repeated it, we see to be a deliberate thing. That one, you yourself will find your own judgment for yourself. We will not force you.
What happens then? Are they ever allowed to continue with the work? Is there a penalty? What is it?
Yes. So when we get you, the place is closed down. You are being processed for court. That is it. So when you go to court, court will ask you to go and do the right thing. Then the officer in charge, that is the investigating officer in charge, will go and take pictures of the place, send it back to court before any other judgment will be made. If you are not going to go to court and then the assembly is going to handle it, maybe due to, what will I say, number of cases going to court because of the costs are not enough, sanitation costs are not enough, you pay a cost of abatement. And that cost of abatement is not less than 300 Ghana cedis. It is not. So if you've not planned, we've all seen how the economic is this day. If you have to part with 300 Ghana cedis because you did not plan, how much is your capital? Then you have to sign a bond. And we stop you from preparing the food and ensure that the place is being kept clean. Whatever we want you to do, you do all of it before we can then ask you to do. Because, mind you, it is the environmental health officer and then the police who has the right to get you without a warrant to do the right thing. Yes.
And I think I am going to be, I've always been for non-custodial sentences, especially because our prisons are teeming with bodies. Our prisons are full. Sometimes it makes no real, I don't want to use that word, to keep sending people there and then disease outbreaks and all the other things that happen in that setting. And even feeding them, the state is not able to do well in terms of feeding them. But at the same time, I think for such people, there should be custodial sentences, not just the penalty units and the fines. Why? Because like with me, God forbid, if I had died, what has that person done?
Yes.
That person has, whether you want to call it manslaughter or murder, that person has blood on his or her hands, and that person is free. That person doesn't even know of the consequence of not properly cooking the food or not properly dealing with the food so that toxins are... Because you see, groundnuts, when you have the paste and all of that, it can easily get contaminated.
Yes.
Handling it is very tricky. You must be very careful. And cooking the thing itself, you must cook it at a certain temperature for a certain period of time. If you fail to do that, you are basically a murderer.
Yes.
And I feel we should be stiffer on such things so that people stop.
So that is why sanitation cases, you find sanitation, environmental health and sanitation cases in the Criminal Offences Act. Yes, because through your malhandling of something can lead to the death of somebody. So it is criminal offense to sell an unwholesome food to somebody. It is criminal offense to adulterate food. For instance, if you are selling groundnut paste, then you decided to adulterate it with something for it to increase in volume and size for you to sell. And somebody goes to take it and fall sick and die. If you are caught, you will be sentenced. There are times we send environmental and sanitation cases to court, and people are being sent to prison for not less than 3 months. It happens.
Right.
Yes.
And I feel those should be enforced more. It also reminds me when Kofi Essel of the FDA was here yesterday. One of I believe he's one of their directors. I could get his. The mention was made of the fact that, there's tomato paste and tomato mix.
Yes.
There's a difference. The paste comes with more tomato content. Per law, there's a certain component that must go in. For the tomato mixes, those are the ones you usually see in the sachets, and they have a lower content. Some people will go label something as tomato paste in the can or wherever, yet it is tomato mix. Do you get it? All of those, and we need to keep an eye on them because people are fleecing others and they are selling it at the same cost or the same price.
Yes, so that is why the FDA ensures that before you send any food product, be it canned or bottled, it must pass through them for them to check on the hazard analysis content, the contamination content, and the food that is inside the can or the bottle. They have to change the content and ensure that everything is there at their right proportions. Yes.
So now, to conclude the conversation, I'm just trying to ensure that I find... okay, I'll get that later. In conclusion, what can we expect this Christmas? How safe is our system going to be sanitation-wise and otherwise throughout this period so that all of us can rest assured that we're going to be healthy and safe and get value for our money?
So this Christmas, what we are saying is food safety or food hygiene is a collective effort. It's not a one-man business. Everybody needs to play their part very well. If you are a trader, if you're a business personnel, your products are getting expired or they are expired, please don't churn them out to the women out there. Some women are there, the things they go to take and come and sell dongomi, they don't know. They just go there because it's cheap and they buy it to come and sell to make a living. Don't send it out. You can report to the FDA or you report to any MMDA where you are operating your businesses. We are always there to assist you to do the distraction, to ensure that we does it in an environmental manner that will not also have an adverse effect. We are also telling people that they should ensure that the environment where they prepare food is safe. For instance, our big restaurants, this is the time that there are going to be a lot of queues to buy food and other things. They should ensure that they don't mix cooked food with raw food. When they are going to preserve food products that they are not able to use, or when you open a tin product, please don't preserve it with the tin in the fridge. Put it in a preservation bowl and then throw the can away. Though when you go to buy things in the market and the container is dented, that is when it's a part of it is not all is not straight. Please don't.
What they will say, apone. Please
don't buy those things because there can be a direct contact with the raw metal and the food product, and it can lead to food poisoning. So we need to put all these things in checks as we go to do our Christmas shopping.
Right. Kofi Esso, I just wanted to get his proper designation. He's the Director of Industrial Support Services at the FDA. He joined us yesterday for that conversation. Thank you so much, Florence, for joining us today.
Thank you, Uncle Ben.
It's always educative having these conversations.
Thank you so much.
I wish you the very best. As for the logistics...
Yes. It will come at the right time.
We'll keep praying.
It will come at the right time.
We'll keep praying.
They are working on it. We know they are working on it.
So... That is the AMA's Director of Public Health, Florence Kuchi. We'll be right back with a lot more on the AM show, even as we talk about the prostate and keeping it safe as well. We'll be back.
In the fight against cancers, there seems to be one particular type that is not as much talked about as breast cancer and cervical cancer, as we know. That is prostate cancer, and it usually occurs in men. I'm here with some men for a little insight into what prostate is, what they know about it, have they been checked, and what rumors are there, so that later on specialists can give us deeper insight and the right education into what prostate cancer really is. Gentlemen, how are you feeling this afternoon? Let's start with a simple question. Have you been checked for prostate cancer before?
Oh, for me, no. I've never been checked before.
Me too, the same thing.
No.
But do you know what prostate cancer is? Or prostate? Do you know what it is about? Do you know anything about prostate?
Well, I've heard about prostate cancer, and what it does, it weakens the man's private part, excuse my language, but I don't know anything else. Okay, I learned when you keep urine a lot, and you don't probably, when you take in water and you go to bed and you don't wake up early to probably pee, it also has an effect, and it can also cause the prostate cancer. That's what I heard. That's the little I heard about it. But
I don't know anything about it, but I be hearing people saying about it that if you drink more alcohol, and at the end of your time, you may get it.
What I heard is that it's only a men disease. So sometimes they told us that when you keep urine for a long time, you can suffer prostate cancer.
Well, what I know about prostate is, I know it's an organ. It's within men. And then when you get to certain stage and you don't check it, it develops and then it gives you a problem. Some of the problems are you renew it continuously to enlarge your your testicle. Okay, this is what I know about it.
Do you know of any meals that when men eat, can improve their prostate or prevent prostate cancer?
Okay, well, according to some medical doctors, the food that if you eat, it can protect your prostate. Is what do you call? Garlic is one. Tomatoes, onion, and then some vegetables.
Hello there, welcome back. Now, this is a conversation that I am passionate about and one that you should be passionate about too, whether you're a female, male, okay? Because your husband, your boyfriend, your brother, your grandfather, your father, whatever, are all involved. They all have one thing called a prostate, right? Now, the prostate, like the medical people will tell you, is like a walnut, very small, as part of your reproductive system. And it is crucial as well because even when you produce semen, it's not just the sperm. That is what also produces that fluid that also your sperm can feed on and stay alive for reproduction to take place. So it's crucial to us. But we're asking today, as we discuss diets and nutrition, do you know the state of your prostate? When last did you check, screen, find out what is happening with your prostate? And what are some of the things you should eat to make your prostate stay healthy, and maybe things you should avoid so that they don't get unhealthy? Well, joining us in the studio, you loved the first installment. We're bringing you this installment this Friday as we discuss prostates and health with registered dietitian Fauzia Abdulrahman. If I had a drum, I would do a drum roll for you because the last time it was really good. Thank you, Fauzia, for joining us once more. So the last time we were talking about health and the kidney and everything. Today we are focusing on the prostate. We're a bit biased. Yenso, we have to talk about ourselves.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about the prostate, just to lay the foundation for
So like you just said, the prostate is just about the size of a walnut. Just small, and it increases in size as you age. And is responsible for producing what we call the semen. In Ghana, or should I say worldwide, is the second leading cause of death among men. And yes.
Hey, I didn't know that. Please backtrack, come back.
So it's the second leading cause of cancer deaths.
Cancer death among men.
Among men.
So of the cancers that men can get, prostate cancer is number 2.
Yeah, it's number 2. Hey. And it's very common among black people or people with black ancestry. That means the black Africans and then those of black Caribbean ancestry or ethnicity.
I have read that. I mean, I've known that for a long time. Do we know why?
Well, not necessarily, but I think just because of our race, it has to do with genetics. Okay. And essentially, we are who we are because of our genes. So research has found out that most of the diseases that affect people, there's a higher incidence or prevalence among those who are blacks. And interestingly, in Ghana here, it is rightly so. And when you compare Ghana to the other developed nations, the incidence of prostate cancer is low. But when it comes to the death rate or the mortality rate, it's very high in Ghana as compared to the other countries.
I see. So, in other words, if you're a black man or Caribbean or whatever, and you're of the black race, and you're a man, you really have to take care of your prostate.
Higher risk, yes.
You stand a higher risk. How comparatively, how high is the risk? Let's say you pick a Caucasian. I mean, you could share with us if you do know, and a black African. How much higher is the risk?
When it comes to the black Africans or the black race, I think it's 60%.
Higher?
Yeah, 60%.
About 60%?
About 60%.
Hey! So, okay. So those are the statistics. They don't make for comfortable listening, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Now that we know what the prostate is and the risk factor, what then, coming to nutrition, even before we look at checking ourselves and all that, maybe I should do the check. At what age should a man, because I know in your teens you don't need to be checking your prostate. In your early 20s, you may not need to. Some say 40.
Yeah, so
I started checking many years ago. Others, because I've also seen people in their late 20s and early 30s who supposedly have had prostate-related issues. When do we start?
So around the age, between 40 to 50, so around the age of 50. But if you have a first degree relative, that is, you have a family history of prostate cancer, that is to say either your father or your brother or your son has had prostate cancer, you need to check around the age of 40, do annual checks to see if maybe you could be at an increased risk, or if it's good to detect it early,
right,
so that your life can be saved, because usually it presents no symptoms in the early stages until the disease has spread or it's advanced. That is when it begins to show some signs and symptoms. So once you do the checks or the screening regularly, it can be detected. That is, if you have the cancer growing in you, it can be detected early, and then you can begin the treatment as soon as possible to save your life.
And here's what I'll say. My own uncle and good friend, Kweku Zintim Mita, KSM as we call him, he actually made mention of the fact that, listen, when he had his prostate issues, and I've had interactions with him for stuff specifically related to the prostate, there were no signs. And that's another thing. Because at a certain age, enlargement and some things are normal, okay? And that was at best it took someone to persistently, so this was literally a mistake. And then he checked and found out that, and he had to go, get surgery and everything that would follow. For those of you who will be watching, I'll share those interactions with you that I had with him on this. But that's another thing. You can't just rely on, maybe there will be symptoms, and then, because for some people, the symptoms are practically non-existent.
Yes.
So if you wait for that, you could find out at the last moment when things have gone totally out of gear. Wow. So talking about checking the prostate, how often should we do it, and what goes into it?
So on average, you can do it once in a year.
Once a year.
On average. If you can afford it, maybe you can do it every 6 months. It's fine. But on average, once a year is fine. But like I said earlier, if you have a family history of prostate cancer, then around the age of 40, you need to be doing frequent checks so that if it's there, it can be detected early. Because what happens is that sometimes when it happens that you have the cancer, it doesn't just attack the prostate. It begins to spread to other parts of the body. And that's when it gets a bit scary, because it doesn't just end at the prostate, but it can affect your kidneys, it can affect the other organs in the body as well. Because the cancer cells can be very aggressive sometimes. And there are cases where people have even had the cancer and even had undergone surgery or perhaps therapy, chemotherapy or radiation, but you realize that the cancer still comes back.
I see. So interesting stuff. But in terms of the different types of testing, I mean, I've been through this. So there's the PSA, and sometimes they may have to do other tests. Can you let us know about them?
So one thing also is that we have the malignant and the benign. So when you have what we call prostatitis, that means inflammation of the prostate. That is not cancerous.
Right.
We also have what we call the BPH. That is the benign prostatic hyperplasia. That's also enlargement of the prostate. Then we have the prostate cancer itself. So if it's the cancer, then that means it's very serious. Okay. But if it's the other two that I mentioned earlier, that can be treated.
Okay. So even if it's the cancer, maybe at a not too advanced stage, can it still be treated?
Yeah, it can still be treated. Early detection is key.
So when it's late detection, that is when the fatality rate is high?
Yeah, that's when the mortality rate or the fatality rate is very high.
Okay. Now let's look at some myths. I know there are a lot of myths about the prostate. Some will tell you that, oh, if you're having frequent sex, some even go as far as talking about masturbation and all of that. We're having a very open conversation. And that if you do that, it will not get enlarged and all that. Is this true?
Well, I would say I wouldn't even encourage masturbation. If you have a female partner, you can have sex, but as a man to masturbate, no, I wouldn't encourage that.
Okay, so on the moral standpoint, I'm Christian, you're Muslim, we have a clear standpoint on some of these things. But for health purposes, and I've had conversations with medical doctors on this, who have pointed to the fact that maybe someone masturbating or engaging in frequent sex does not mean their prostate is going to be compromised.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. It's just like cervical cancer. Some of the risk factors is if one, you started having sex at an early age or at a very tender age, it puts you at risk. But there are people who have had sex very young, but they didn't get cervical cancer. And there are some people too who didn't have sex at a younger age, but then they ended up developing cervical cancer. So it's a bit, it's topsy-turvy. It's not a clear path that if you have frequent sex or if you masturbate, then it puts you at risk.
Or it reduces your risk. So it's neither here nor there.
It's neither here nor there, but you know how the human body works sometimes. Science is still trying to uncover that, because day in, day out, there are more studies, more research that is being done to find out how the human body functions. Because certain things, there may be some clear signs, but in the end, things may not turn out with what the signs that you are seeing. And there are sometimes too that there are no signs and then things just happen. So it's a bit dicey how the human body works. So we are still learning about the human body and how it operates.
So one thing you've said, if there's a risk factor in your family, like with diabetes, sometimes.
Diabetes,
I know someone recently who shared with me that a very young lady, that she's found out because she had a new job and she tested because it was part of the requirements. That's the only way she found out she was diabetic. And she wasn't surprised because guess what? Her grandmother, her mother, her brother have got it. And now she has got it. So sometimes early detection saves lives.
But then with the risk factors, we have the modifiable ones and then non-modifiable. So the non-modifiable ones are like the family history and then the ethnicity and then your age as well, because those ones are not within your control. You can't do anything about it. But other risk factors such as overweight or obesity, those ones are things that you can work on. And for a man, when we talk about obesity, it's a disease. Just as we have diabetes, we have hypertension and the kidney disease. That means that you have excessive accumulation of fat in your body and it poses a risk to your health. When we talk about, so in assessing someone to be obese, we use either the BMI, so it's a measure
body mass index.
A measure of your body weight against your height. If you have a BMI of above 25 kilograms per meter squared, that means between 25 and 29.9, that means you are overweight. And having a BMI greater than or equal to 30 kilograms per meter squared, that means that you are.
I also know, though, that sometimes the
sometimes
BMI may not necessarily
yes,
be the best.
May not necessarily
Someone
be
may have more muscle than fat.
More muscle, yes. So
and
we don't
because of their
rely
height.
on only the BMI. So we have the other ones that we call the waist circumference. So with the waist circumference, you just take a tape and measure around your midsection. Now for a man, if you have a waist circumference of more than 37 inches or 94 centimeters or higher, then you should be on the lookout. Or we also use what we call the waist to hip ratio. So you take a measure of your waist and then take a measure of your hip and then divide it. So if the value or the figure you get is above 1, or that is 1 or higher, you should also be on the lookout for that, because it puts you at risk of getting prostate diseases. Not necessarily prostate cancer, but prostate diseases.
Okay, so I just want to reinforce this before we focus on the nutrition
Yeah.
and diet. So enlargement will naturally happen after a certain age.
Yes.
Your prostate will start getting enlarged as you grow. That one is not
It
necessarily.
increases in size as you grow.
Yes, so it's normal.
It's normal.
But you have to be checking so that if there are other abnormal things going on, then it can be detected.
Yes.
All right. And it doesn't also mean that once you are having some level of frequent urination, because that could also depend on
that could also
hormones,
even be,
stress, so many things happening
that could
with
even
you.
be a sign or symptom of having UTI. Urinary tract infection.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, but I'm just saying that it could be so many things. It
could
doesn't
be so
necessarily
many-
mean
no, it doesn't
you have a
necessarily
prostate
mean,
issue.
yeah.
All right. Let's talk about a good diet, a healthy diet, how to eat to keep your prostate healthy. What should you be looking at as a man?
So we don't have a particular food or what we call a superfood, but it's an array of foods that you eat. So it's something that you should incorporate in your diet every day. It shouldn't be something that you do once or twice and then you stop there. No, it has to be a continuous something. There are certain nutrients that are very key to help reduce your risk of getting prostate diseases, either the prostatitis or the BPH or the prostate cancer itself. So number one, I'm going to mention the nutrients and then the sources of food. So we have what we call the omega-3 fatty acids.
Okay.
Yes. So what omega-3 fatty acids does is that they sort of increase your HDL, what we call the good cholesterol, and then reduce your LDL, that is the bad cholesterol. Now, the omega-3 fatty acids also helps to fight inflammation. So you get omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fishes such as salmon, mackerel, sardines, anchovies, and the rest. But we also have people...
Anchovies, no, I've forgotten what's the local name again?
Is that what we call...
Is that the 1 mouth?
1 man thousand.
Thousand.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
that is.
Those are the anchovies.
Yeah,
right?
those are the anchovies. Okay. But then again, you have some people who may not eat fish. So you can still get those omega-3 fatty acids from your nuts and seeds. So your granules, your soya bean, your flax seeds, your chia seeds. So you work with what you have around you. If you don't have the flax seeds or the chia seeds and you have your granules, it's okay.
The chia or chia seeds are the black ones, right?
They're very tiny.
Those black ones.
Yeah. And then the other one also has to do with fiber. And
okay.
Yes. What fiber does, it adds bulk to your stool. It also adds bulk to your food. It curbs your appetite so you don't overeat. And it also slows digestion and the slow release of sugar into the bloodstream.
Okay.
So
because when it's rapid, that's when it high.
Yes.
It's a high.
Yeah, and the fiber we are talking about could be either soluble fiber or insoluble fiber. And we get the fiber from food sources such as our whole grains, our fruits and vegetables, and then our nuts and seeds as well. And with that fiber, I'm talking about also, in Ghana here, we are blessed with so many staples and cereals. So your rice that we spoke about the other time, talking about the brown rice, you get your fiber from that. You also get your fiber from your maize, your oats, your quinoa, fonio. One interesting thing about fonio is that a lot of people do not know about it, that it even comes from Ghana, or it's grown in Ghana here, but it's a very rich source of dietary fiber and other minerals as well. And I encourage people to eat that because it's also very nice. And with the fiber, what it does is, as compared to the fiber here, we are talking about the complex carbohydrates. But when you take the refined simple carbohydrates, those ones, when you are eating them, can lead to weight gain in the sense that it sort of digests quickly, and you'd have to eat a lot more of it to feel full. So that is why the fiber is very good. But if you are eating a diet rich in simple refined carbohydrates, those ones will not do you a lot of good. And that's when it also spikes up your blood sugar.
Right.
So the candies, the white bread, the donuts, the cookies, the pastries, and all those things are not too healthy.
Okay.
Then the other one, we have the lycopene. So lycopene is a very powerful antioxidant. And what antioxidants do is that they help eradicate or remove free radicals from the body. So it's these free radicals that cause oxidative stress to the human body and sort of trigger inflammation in the body, and also increase the growth of cancer cells. So if you are eating foods that are rich in antioxidants, what they do is that they don't cause damage to your DNA, and they help your DNA to replicate properly. When your DNA does not replicate properly, that is when it can lead to the oxidative stress and also put you at risk of getting cancer. So you can get the lycopene from tomatoes. You can also get the lycopene from watermelon, papaya, or you call the pawpaw. But with the tomatoes, what happens is you have to eat the cooked tomatoes. And by cooking here, I'm not talking about putting the tomato on fire and cooking it for about an hour. Because when it comes to the lycopene is tightly bound to the cell walls of the tomato. And in order for the body to be able to access the lycopene so that it can carry it to the prostate, you have to eat cooked tomatoes. So you can saute your tomatoes, it's fine. Or when you are preparing your stew, but do not leave the stew on fire, excuse me to say, before you sort of take it off the fire. When it happens that way, you would have ended up destroying the nutrients in there, because the water-soluble vitamins do not like a lot of heat. So you cook them under low to medium heat, and not for longer periods of time as well.
Okay. So if I understand what you're saying in totality, again, it's about taking a balanced diet.
Yes,
that's basically it.
Yeah.
From all the 6 food groups and all of that. Ensure you're getting good portions of your carbs, your vitamins, minerals, your fats and oils, and proteins, all those things. And then you can keep yourself in shape. I like granola, I like nuts and stuff like that. They're also good for the body. Fiber. That's in essence what you're saying.
Yeah, but one thing I would want to also clear the air on something that people think fats are bad, but fats are not bad. Yeah. Fats, you need some amount of fats. It's just that for every gram of fat, you get 9 calories. So that's twice the amount of calories you would have gotten from your carbohydrates and your proteins. But you need to make sure that you are eating them in the right proportion or amount. When you take your foods, 20 to 30% of your energy requirement should come from your fats. But we have
20 to 30%.
20 to 30%. Okay. We have different types of fats. We have the saturated fats, we have the trans fats, and then we have the unsaturated fats. So for the unsaturated, you have the monounsaturated and then the polyunsaturated fats. So you get the omega-3 from the monounsaturated and the polyunsaturated fat. Okay. But for the trans fats, you need to avoid them because they are not healthy. They undergo a process of what we call hydrogenation. So some of the vegetable oils, I don't want to mention them, but those ones are not healthy. You need to stay away from them. And industrially processed baked goods and stuff, those ones are not healthy. But you can go for the fatty fish, the avocados and all that. And then another essential nutrient or vitamin that is also an antioxidant is vitamin E, or what you call selenium. So basically it goes back to eating from the 6 food groups, because that is when you get all these nutrients I'm talking about from.
And even as you speak of fats, the body itself requires some fat content, like you mentioned, to thrive.
Yeah.
Sometimes your body stores food as fat for that rainy day.
Yeah.
There's also, as you mentioned, fat cholesterol, because there's good cholesterol
and then there's bad cholesterol.
So sometimes we paint the picture that, oh, cholesterol is bad, but there's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. Any final words on, yes, the prostate, but general health?
And then we didn't talk about the foods to avoid. So
okay, let's do that to conclude then.
The red meat and then the processed meat. So you can cut down on the red meat, but for the processed meat, it's a no-no. I wouldn't encourage you eating processed meat. For example, the sausages, the ham, the bacon, the canned beef, and all those things, they are not healthy. And then also try to quit smoking if you are someone who smokes, because smoking is also bad for the prostate and then the lungs as well. And then
how about those who drink and smoke? I know some of them. They drink, they smoke, they even use the E something. I'll not mention names.
I know what you're saying.
They know themselves.
Yeah, that is no good. It's no good. I think for such people, you may think they are not falling sick, but the day something happens, it's very serious, trust me. And that's the end. That will be the end of you.
Well, it's always good having you join the conversation. We're very grateful that you've come our way today as well, educating us and trying to keep us healthy. We're grateful for your time.
My final words also is that there are some tests that you need to do. You can just walk in any nearby health facility or hospital and request that they run those tests for you. So one is the PSA, the prostate specific antigen. That's a blood test. We have other ones like the prostate biopsy. So those ones, they may take a sample of your prostate and then take it to the lab and then analyze it. Then we also have the digital rectal examination. That one is carried out by a qualified medical professional. So don't try to examine your prostate yourself because you may not know what to look out for.
Right.
So just visit a healthcare professional to attend to you.
All right. Fauzia Abdul Rahman is, she's a registered dietitian, and she joined us on the conversation this morning, like she did the last time. I'm hoping that we can do something else with you before.
Next time we'll talk about something interesting.
Before the year ends.
It's a surprise.
Oh, it's a surprise, eh? You have a surprise package for us.
For that one, a lot of people fall victim to it.
Hey.
Yes.
And we look forward to that one. Thank you, Fauzia, for coming. Do stay with us. We'll return on the AM show as we gear up to wrap. One last thing that we have for you. We'll be right back. Welcome back on the AM show. This is how we cap off the show, but I'm going to celebrate a few people. Belated happy birthday to Nicholas Yamwa. We celebrated him yesterday. He wants another shout. Well, we'll keep celebrating him today as well. But happy birthday to the host of the Diplomatic Affairs TV show, Harriet Nate. Harriet Nate, you host Diplomatic Affairs. Here's to continued success and meaningful connection. Cheers to your accomplishments. May this year bring you all the happiness you deserve. From me, from the entire crew, Maxwell Agbagba, Ekosam, and others, we celebrate you. And also, Teresa Eduse, I was literally threatened to do this one by a certain Emmanuel Jivenu. I don't know what his interest is. But Emmanuel Jivenu wishes you a very happy birthday in advance. It's not even the day yet. Your birthday is on Monday, and Emmanuel Jivenu was on my neck, literally, to wish you a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, Teresa Eduse, in advance. God richly bless you. And that's how we cap off the show. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. It's always a pleasure hosting you. Up next, Joy News Desk. Do stay.